Well, hello, welcome back to Riyadh and welcome back to an iconic fight week. For the first time in 25 years, we are going to crown an undisputed world heavyweight champion right here in Riyadh on Saturday night. Fight week continues. Today is all about the public workouts. In that ring, behind Steve Bunce, behind Big Fraser Clark, they are going to be in there. Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk. Will Usyk be juggling? Will Fury be, I don't know, in his pants? You just don't know. Expect the unexpected. I'm delighted to be in the company. Boxing's walking, talking encyclopedia, Mr. Steve Bunce, and Olympic bronze medalist, Mr. Fraser Clark. How are we?
All good, Dan, all good. Listen, I'm getting happier by the day because we're getting closer. I feel like a kid a few days before Christmas. It's just taking forever now. I just want to see the fight.
You know what, Dave? If you're here working in the media and you don't feel a bit like a kid leading up to Christmas or whatever else you celebrate, then there's something wrong with you. Because if you're here yawning and going, oh, it's just another job, there's something wrong with you. If you work for any branch of the media, whether you're a cameraman, a runner, whether you're down there interviewing, whether you're up here with us, and if you don't have that sort of feeling that's getting there the last couple of days, then there's something wrong with you, Fraser. It's that simple.
Look, and there's nothing wrong with any of us.
No.
I think we can all sense that magic. Fraser, can you smell that magic in the Arabian air? Something big's about to happen.
You just get a sense and a feeling, you know. The first time I come down here and I seen the setup, you thought it was good. This was yesterday. And then today, more fans have turned up. There's more Brits asking me for pictures and asking me for my predictions. And then there's Americans turning up.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of people from China that have turned up.
I've got the Chinese
and
ones,
it's growing, and it's growing. And guess what? They're all expecting something special.
Listen, as a fighter, let me just ask you this stuff, right? Do you enjoy this element of fight week, you know, like a big kind of build-up? Because you had one against Fabio Wardley, you had a bit of a build-up for that fight in particular. Do you enjoy it? Do you just want to get it out of the way? What goes through your head?
It's a real strange one because I always say this to my close friends that call me my family. They speak about after how they enjoyed the fight week and it was brilliant. And guess what? I know a hotel room, I know the walk that I do to keep my mind sane, I know the couple of people that are with me, and other than that, there's not a lot that goes on for me. I'm just very focused. But for everyone else, they come, it's sort of it's an event, and there's no bigger one than this one here. So I bet everyone here is enjoying it. But I'm sure the fighters are more focused, relaxed at the minute, but they know they've got a big job on their hands to come Saturday
And the other thing they've got, of course, they're not Fraser's problem, is they've got making weight problems. You know Mark Chamberlain. We spoke to him yesterday. You know, he's not casually picking up a donut as he leaves the stage. You know, Anthony Apache, he's not just. Or Apache Kakati even. He's not casually leaving the stage chewing on a donut. Those guys are down on ounces. So there's that element to fight week. And there's something that people ask me. People seem to imagine I was around in 1960. I ain't that old. I might have been a baby in a pram, but I wasn't that. Muhammad Ali fights at Wembley against Henry Cooper. It's a bit of an insult when people say that. But I do know something about fights in the late 80s and the 90s. Some of the greatest fighters in British history. Some of the greatest fighters in world history. And I covered Oscar De La Hoya Peak, Lennox Lewis Peak. They didn't do this in fight week. But we'll talk to Lennox before the fight. We'll get him we'll get him up here. And I'm telling you, he thinks these guys whisper are crazy. So they got to do something on Monday, Bunsey, yeah. And on Tuesday, yeah. And on Wednesday, he doesn't believe it. What you guys do now, what modern fighters do now, compared to what guys only, 25 years ago did. It's ridiculous. It's like two different businesses.
And I understand what Lennox is saying there, but I get this. A lot of people say, oh, why do you have Team Fury, Team Usyk? Because this is where the team do their work this
good
week.
Point.
This week is, you're the only one in there fighting, but right up until that point, your team is your backbone, and you need a strong team and a good team. And I don't think there's many more stronger teams than the two we've got here because, they're willing to give as much as the fighter's going to give, outside of the ring, as much as the fighters are inside the ring.
Point.
But by this point, all the work's been done, right? Everything that Fury could do, he's done it. Everything that Usyk could do, he's done it. Nothing new is going to happen between now and then, right?
It's just about professionalism now. Going to bed on time, eating what you know you need to eat, staying hydrated, not being in the sun too much, not being out in the heat too much.
Not doing too much.
Yeah, not putting the aircon on too much, off your feet. You don't want to do too many steps. But these guys, like I said, these guys are so experienced and they've been around the block. They'll have their own routine set out for this week. They'll probably be doing the same things they do now that they've done for all the rest of the fights. It won't surprise me at all.
So to pick up on that point, Dev, You probably can't win a fight from this point, but guess what? You can lose it if you get it wrong.
Yes.
And that's crucial. That's critical. If you do what you always do, you won't lose it between now and the ring. You'll lose it in the ring. But you can, without a doubt, it can all go wrong if you vary. If you have the air conditioner on too much. If you're not used to it. If you get restless, like the famous Hassim Rahman against Lennox Lewis, when he was up all night in the casino, walking around, signing autographs, posing at the tables, wandering around, because he was so mad. Lennox is sleeping for 14 hours, then staying in bed for another 6. Hassim's everywhere, gets knocked spark out. So without a doubt, you can lose it between now and that first belt. Guaranteed, if you do things wrong.
Do you know what? That's interesting, because Steve, I was actually watching your interview from this week with Tyson Fury just earlier on today, and at the very start of it, he was very short. He didn't really give you too much, and there was a point where he just started going all the way in, and he looked to his team and he said, "Oh, I said I wasn't going to give too much in these interviews," and I have.
And he slaps his leg. Yeah. Oh, I said, I can't believe it. I said, oh, it was great. It was great.
Because this is Tyson. Yeah. The character is he doesn't want to hold back, and as much as he don't want to hold back in interviews, I want to see him not hold back in the ring come Saturday night. I want to see him go out there and dominate, because I think in his head, we keep talking about his heavyweight champion, undisputed heavyweight champion, and then we use the words king of the world. Yeah. Now, to be the king of the world, you've got to take over in fashion. I really think you're going to try and do that.
Good point.
Toughest fight of Tyson Fury's career, Fraser?
In a way, yeah, definitely in a way. I think it's the best operator he's been there with. Physically, no, you haven't got the danger of the biggest puncher in the world. Definitely not. But I think this man, Usyk, makes up for not being able to be the biggest puncher in the division with other stuff. The mind, the experience, the calmness, and the fact that the sacrifice he's done for this fight, which he's told us about, I think that makes it very dangerous. If you miss the birth of a child, let me tell you, you're willing to do some crazy things to get the victory in that ring.
And that mind that you talked about, that's the closed door. You can't get in there. I feel like maybe Tyson did try initially. Maybe he went knocking. Maybe maybe there's a way in here. But there doesn't appear to be a way in. And now Tyson, he's not
interested. He's not interested in mind games. His country's been at war.
Yeah.
And he's been
in those trenches.
He's been in the trenches. So do you think sticks and stones? It's not going to work.
Tyson thinks he has got in there though. Now, whether that's like him playing a double bluff. Yeah. To make Usyk go to bed at night and think, is he in there? He's not in there. He's not, Dev, he's not, you've been around him. He's not even close to in there. If there was like a 10-foot halo around him, he's not even inside the halo. Let's get it right. But Tyson's started the last couple of days saying, listen, I've been living rent-free in his head for 2 years. Has he? Sorry, has he, heck? He hasn't been living rent-free in his head. And that's also what makes it so entertaining. Because this week, as you know, he hasn't even tried to penetrate the head.
Listen, Steve, sometimes saying less is more effective. Let me tell you, and I think Usyk dropped one line when he was asked about Fury's weight, and he said something like, nervous people lose weight. Yeah. And for me, he ended it there, and it was powerful. It was very powerful.
But do you think there's still a chance? Because I remember the Deontay Wilder build-up where Tyson kind of dictated play. When he went high, Wilder went high. When he went low, Wilder went low. And now, as we're getting towards the business end, could there yet be another twist from Tyson Fury? Because he's being nicey nice at the moment. Still 48 hours or so, well, even more than that till the fight.
Well, I saw him change a couple of times with the Otto Vallon. He changed on about the Thursday and the Friday. And certainly in the second fight with Wilder, he changed there. So, and he can change. And I was a little, not disturbed by what I saw, because afterwards it all came out, it all worked out well. But I noted it. I would not be at all surprised, one single bit, if we see something different from Tyson. Maybe just a change in his demeanour, not wanting to laugh and joke and wave at people in the crowd. That would not surprise me if we saw, I don't want to say a raw edge, but just a little bit more, maybe aggressive. Maybe that's too strong a word there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see something different, a little bit different.
Is it fair to say that Oleksandr Usyk has never ever boxed anyone like Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury has never ever boxed anyone like Oleksandr Usyk? Is that fair?
100%. You know, these guys they've done their camps and they've got sparring in, and they've probably tried to imitate each other. Yeah. But I can tell you this: you can search this planet far and wide. There's one Tyson Fury and there's one Oleksandr Usyk, and that's a fact. Has he been in the ring with someone like Tyson? Maybe he's been in there with someone as tall as him, but someone with the skills and the mindset, definitely not.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask Fraser a question. Dev, if you are Tyson, is it easier to find someone that might be like Usyk, or if you're Usyk, it is easier to find someone that might be like Tyson? I take on board that it's impossible to replicate them, but who had the easier job putting people in camp to help them, if any of them did?
I think probably Usyk, because I think he would have just been looking for lumps, you know.
Yeah. High lumps.
Yeah, high lumps. He probably knew he wasn't going to replicate the skill. You know, like I say, we've seen loads of boxers, loads of fighters. There's no Tyson Furies about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wouldn't have been easy for Tyson either, because I've seen some of his sparring partners, really good sparring partners. He's had Ty Mitchell there. He's very unorthodox. I've seen him in the gym make a fool out of really good fighters. So you try your best, but you're never going to quite get there. So I've even seen people that are fighting southpaws do rounds with orthodox people in the camp just to get the rounds in.
Yeah.
You don't quite get the style, but you get the rounds in. Sometimes you gauge a few things. But I think the sparring has all been about conditioning, and when you get in there, it's going to be a mind game between them.
So what will we see today? In that ring behind you, Steve, you've seen so many Tyson Fury workouts over the years. Hey, you've seen so many Oleksandr Usyk ones.
Workouts.
What are you expecting today?
Well, first of all, I'm hoping no one falls from it, because I got up on the outside of it a couple of hours ago, Dev, and let me tell you, I was a bit like that. That's a proper drop up there. It might look like there's loads of space, but when you're up in the ring, there's not loads of space. Plus, you get a few things. We won't see very much today, and partly that's because of the heat, and partly because that's a routine. But you know, in history, there have been several open workout media days, workout sessions in the week of a fight, where things have been shown. You have picked up little teasers, little clips, just small things. And I'm always stunned. I'm amazed that a boxer will go in that ring in front of the media, being filmed, and you know, you might be up here, the Zone boys might be over there, the Sky boys down there, and they'll show something like they'll show waiting for a left hand and then throwing a big right hand. And I'm thinking, are they showing that because they're going to use it, or are they showing that to make us believe they use it? Then when they get in the ring, they go and do it. I find that staggering, that you give anything away during this open workout.
Right? Here's a bit of controversy, Steve, because I've often had, not arguments, but I've often had discussions with my trainer. Sometimes I want to do the open workout, and I want to do it properly,
yeah.
Because I want to get a feel. I want to feel good. And that's all it's about this week, remember, feeling good. Now, people have different beliefs. Can someone see something now, this close to a fight, and make it effective during the fight week? My beliefs is not, because in the amateur scene, I used to warm up next to someone, and then I'd fight them in 10 minutes time. Now, obviously, when the pros, it's different. But I'm not too sure on the argument. Is there something you can take this close to a fight? Because you're 10 weeks, 12 weeks tuned to doing something anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's a difficult argument.
Well, how about this then? I'll turn that on its head, Dev. How about this? What about if there's something which you didn't see, and after the fight you realise you missed it? I'm thinking Andy Ruiz against Anthony Joshua in New York. And Andy Ruiz, lovely guy, big pot belly, loads of gold, smiling, great goatee. You know, a bit of pedigree with the amateurs, and a nice guy, late replacement, a lot of fun. AJ was AJ all throughout that week, and they did a gym session. They did an open session in a shopping mall down by the Port Authority, and I swear, Ruiz was trying things, and then we realised how fast he was. We watched, Mike Costello and I watched his feet only for a minute. Then we watched his hands only for a minute, and watched his head movement, and we both looked at each other and went, nah, it's okay. I'm ignoring that speed and that his feet. Andy Ruiz, forget the size of him, he gets across there like Sonny Edwards, and we missed it. Dev, we missed it completely.
And look, and I remember most recently the Francis Ngannou workout where he was hitting pads and it went viral saying, what's this guy going to do on Saturday night against the best boxer in the world?
Good point.
You just never know, do you? You just never know. But what did you make of last night, by the way? I guess you were here, you were around it as well. Tyson gave his interview up there. Oleksandr Usyk stayed in eye line, just looking and staring at him. What did you make of it, Fraser?
I mean, last night, I'll be honest, I think we got an Oleksandr Usyk that wanted his bed, and I'll be dead honest. I don't think he was too interested in being here, because ultimately you're doing a catwalk, you get in there, you're waving at a camera, and you know, like I say, Lennox, like go back to what Len said. Why are these guys doing this? We've got the biggest fight ever happening on Saturday. These guys are wanting to protect themselves and rest. Tyson come down, he gave a little bit, he didn't give too much again, and I think that's also because Tyson thought, you know what, I'll do this because is going to grow the fight, but is it really necessary? Now, this is a bit more normal now. Open workout, media day tomorrow, and then waiting. But I think that moment there it's a little bit new to everyone. It's the grand arrival thing. You don't really see that often. So I think we'll see more today and going forward, because it feels more like a normal fight week now. It's Wednesday and things are really kicking in.
Well, I'll tell you what we're also going to see a lot more of. Andy Clark, who has joined us. Andy, you're very welcome. How are you?
Great to be here. Great to be here. I could confirm that I also missed what Steve and Mike Costello missed, because I saw all of that stuff too. And during that week, we were all saying that Andy Ruiz would get ironed out in the first 3 or 4 rounds, and there was no evidence for it at all. And after the event, we all felt like clowns. But that's the game we're in, isn't it?
Listen, that is the game. That is the game we're in. Andy, I've not really had a chance to speak to you yet. We're on day 2 of fight week. It's workout day. What are your kind of impressions, your thoughts right now?
I think having seen the pair of them up close this week, because Fury was doing his photos in the room that I was in on Monday, physically he looks good, and you would expect him to be maybe a little bit lighter than the heavier weights he's come in at recently, but more really when you're getting a sense of how well someone has lived and how well prepared they are, their hydration, nutrition, rest, you just look at their skin and their eyes, and he just looks really well. It just does. You know, Frank described him as glowing, which is taking it a step further, but he's not far off. And Usyk looks really good too, so I think preparation for the pair of them has ticked all of the boxes. They're never going to say anything else at this point, but by the look of the pair of them, I think they're where they need to be, which for us is exactly what we want.
I think you're absolutely right about they're never going to say anything else. And Steve, I'll bring you in now. I remember the Francis Ngannou fight. It's a real point of reference. It happened in Riyadh. It opened up Riyadh season. But Tyson talked about how he trained for longer for that fight than what he would for a normal camp. And it didn't turn out too well.
But there's training in a camp and there's training in a camp. So, I mean, when people said to me he's not trained, I knew he had trained. But what I mean by that is I knew he'd been in camp for 8 weeks. But there's being in camp and being in camp. There's living like a monk. There's preparing to save your career, save your life, and guarantee the future of your kids and your kids' kids. And then there's training for a guy who had no right to be in the ring. And it's in your head. I don't give a monkey's what anyone ever says. It's in your head. Enough fighters have told me that have lost in shocks. It's in their head. And the stats, nowadays everyone's got a stat on how many rounds they sparred, they know what they've eaten, they know what they've done in the gym, they know the work they've done, they know their times on runs, they know all of it. And they're peaking, every single one of them. But where they're not peaking is in here. And anyone that thinks that Tyson Fury got in that ring against Ngannou with his head was barely on day 1 of the camp. He may have trained for 8 weeks. His body was in about week 2. And his head was on day 1, even though he'd done 8 weeks. He just wasn't right throughout the whole thing. Which is why he's never come up with a big excuse. The excuse was, I just wasn't right. He's not come up with anything that's deep or meaningful or that we could buy into. He's not made excuses. He just didn't prepare.
Well, let's see what's going to happen in this workout today. Let's head over to Thomas Treiber.
Saturday from Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It is all being brought to you by Frank Warren on behalf of Queensberry Promotions and Bob Arum for Top Rank Incorporated. In conjunction with Riyadh Season, National Events Center, the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Gold Star Promotions, K2 Promotions, and Sella. This great event will be televised live worldwide on DAZN pay-per-view, in the United States on ESPN Plus pay-per-view, and in the UK on Sky Sports Box Office, TNT Sports Box Office, and DAZN. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to extend a big thank you to the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, and His Excellency, Chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Turkey, Al-Sheikh. Let's now get things started. Our first 2 fighters today competing this Saturday in a scheduled 8-round international cruiserweight contest. Let's first welcome, fighting out of Frankfurt, Germany. He brings an undefeated record with 12 wins, 10 of his 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Michael Seitz.
Well, here comes Michael Seitz, an unbeaten German. First fight outside of Germany for this hard-hitting cruiserweight. Takes on David Onyeka on Saturday night. Onyeka also unbeaten, 8-0. And Andy Clark, I believe you shared a gym session with Michael Seitz. Tell us.
I think that's a slightly generous description. I was down at the arena gym to see Jaya Pataya, and he was there sat on one of the exercise bikes, so I went over to have a quick chat with him just to get a bit of background. And you know, he's really looking forward to this, as you would be if you're one of the away corner fighters. But what I found interesting was that when this fight was supposed to be in February, he'd had about 3 weeks' notice. He stays in shape. He's one of those guys. The 3 weeks isn't bad, is it, notice-wise, for an away corner job? But once he realised that this had been switched to May and it was going to stay on the card, he then had 6 or 7 weeks when he was given a notice for that. So mentally he's had a long time to prepare. Physically he's had a long time to prepare. So that could play into the advantage of people like him. And he's undefeated. He brings the confidence of an undefeated fighter. He's got big Evgenios Lazaridis, heavyweight fighter, training him in his corner too. So he's someone I've seen a few times down the years. Just great little stories, you know, how this all comes about for these guys, because they all have the same look on their face, don't they? They're here now, so they do believe it, but they also still can't quite believe it.
Yeah, there's a few of them on this card where it's an opportunity, a golden opportunity to just change your life, sometimes with just one punch.
Oh, these boys have got a golden ticket. Some of them aren't fighting for titles. Guess what? Some of them are fighting because guess what? This will open the door to bigger things. So, not just the main event on Saturday, even for the undercard. You do well, you'll probably be back here. You know, that seems to be the common theme. So I think every fight can be good because people are going to leave it all in the ring.
He's had more contact, Michael, with the media in the last 48 hours than he's had in his entire life. And most of the people in the first 4 or 5 fights are the same way. Maybe David Nyaki, his opponent, he might be the one that had a bit because he's a big amateur star in New Zealand. But other than that, this is ridiculous for them. It's great for them.
No, good on him. Look, he doesn't look phased. He's taking it in, and maybe with the heat, because it is very hot here. I think we're mid-30s at the moment. We might have been even touching 40, but it is very, very hot. So I'm not sure we're going to get an awful lot more out of Michael Seitz here. Maybe as it gets later this evening, as we head towards the main event workouts, maybe we will get a little bit more.
Yeah, again, very interesting what a lot of these fighters are going to do tonight, because you know, we spoke about not winning the fight this week, but losing it. Some of these guys aren't going to want to overdo it. You know, I can see him there in a pair of tracksuit bottoms and a t-shirt. That indicates to me, has he got a bit of weight to get off? You know, has he
absolutely,
not?
Fraser.
You know,
Definitely
I think you're going to see the guys. You'll know who maybe got a bit of weight to shift. They'll come out and put a shift in. He seems very relaxed, in a good place, and now he's just doing his way. He's had a little jump around.
And also, if you think about it, Dev, he's never been anywhere near this. You know, any of these previous, whatever it is, 9 fights or whatever, he's never been anywhere near this. He has no idea what's going on there. He's in a new realm. He's gone to some kind of unridden realm. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, it's all new to him.
A native of Hamilton, New Zealand, now making his home in Gatton, Queensland, Australia. He was a 2020 Olympic bronze medalist, and now as a professional is undefeated with 8 wins, 7 of his 8 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome David, the nice guy, Onyeka.
Well, here comes David, the nice guy, Onyeka. All that talk of nice guys finishing last, I'm not so sure. He's a 2-time Commonwealth Games gold medalist, Olympic bronze medalist, 6'5" cruiserweight from New Zealand. Comes with plenty of backing, plenty of ambition, and he's a fighter that absolutely looks the part.
Yeah, he does, and he's used to being... In fact, he's used to being under scrutiny. He's used to having an awful lot of people around him. He's used to a bit of expectation and a bit of weight on his shoulders. I tell you what, I know he's cruiserweight, but he's a big boy, Fraser, isn't he? I mean, I don't know how close you've been to him when you've fought on tournaments together, but he's a big old lump.
He really is. and he's an athlete. If you're going to say anyone's an athlete, he is a pure athlete. I spent about 6 months with him because he actually come over and lived in Sheffield with us, training with GB. Yeah. So I've actually moved around with him a few times, and he's skillful. He's very skillful. He knows what he's doing. He knows where around the boxing ring. I think, he was going to train in England, then he tried the American thing as well. And it looks like he's held it back over his way now. He's in Australia, but he's a real talent. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he was up on that British Lionheart squad with you, wasn't he, in World Series boxing? I mean, you look at the credentials, and a two-weight Commonwealth Games gold medalist, Olympic bronze medalist, it's all there, really, isn't it? It's all there. Interesting that he's gloved up, following on from what you were just talking about there. He's gloved up, so he fancies hitting a few pads and just shaking off, not rust exactly, but fight week's different here because it's so hot outside during the day. You can't really do a lot, and the fighters have told me you get cooped up in the hotel and you're just not able to just do the things you would normally do, and so something like this is often a bit more appealing for them than it normally is.
Again, I know David, and such a good athlete. I can't imagine the weight being a problem for him, I see the way he lives his life, and I've lived with him, so I do know that. I think this open workout could possibly be for Instagram. He's going to get some good shots off it, but in terms of the fight, I think he's come out here, he really wants to show his skills off, and he's got lots of skills to show.
I mean, we have had open workouts where fighters, AJ does it quite a lot. He'll come out and he'll watch some kids skip, and he'll give out a few T-shirts, and you realise he hasn't done anything. And then another time AJ took about 10 minutes to have his hands wrapped while kids were skipping around him. Once he had his hands wrapped, he got out the ring like he was going to do a private session. Perfectly fine, perfectly legal.
Do you remember, you definitely will, before AJ boxed Klitschko at Wembley, the open workouts, Klitschko just put a chair in the middle of the ring and had his hands wrapped for about 45 minutes. It was absolutely excruciating. I mean, it just took forever.
On the subject of forever, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say about Daniel Dubois in Poland in 100 degrees doing 20 minutes non-stop without a minute's break, and all of us just standing there with our heads roasting last year before. That was the most ridiculous workout.
It was very, very strange to watch. It was just hours away.
But again, this week, it's around feeling good, and we're all different as boxers. We're all different in so many ways. Now, just touching that pads give you some crazy endorphins. You feel amazing. If you get the right pad man, the right coach, you can feel on top of the world. And going into your fight, sometimes that can do so much for a fighter. Like this year, this is really relaxed, really gentle. I mean, I'm used to seeing this guy in a fight. He's very good at switching. But tonight, just a little touch, and I think he's ready. He looks really good.
He does look ready, and just as a fighter generally, all that amateur pedigree, all that background, all those medals, he's 8-0 now. Feels like he's ready to be let off the leash.
Our next two fighters to the ring competing this Saturday night in a scheduled 10-round contest. It will be for the vacant WBA Intercontinental Light Heavyweight Championship. First, we welcome, coming to us from Porto, Portugal. He brings a professional record consisting of 9 wins, just 1 defeat. 4 of his 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Octavio Tank Pudivita.
Well, here comes Octavio Pudivita, also known as Tank. Got a title fight on Saturday night against Daniel Lapin. Now, Lapin is very much Team Usyk, trains by his side, promoted by him. So Octavio Pudivita has his work cut out. And what are we seeing from Octavio? He's putting a little bit in there, isn't he?
He is putting a little bit in there. He's auditioning for the next Mike Tyson film, that's for sure, with those shots. Good luck to him. Maybe he's been in the... Maybe he's been in Andy. Maybe he's been in the Mike Tyson gym here. Maybe Mike's made a cameo we don't know about.
Yeah, absolutely. I went past that the other day, and it's an impressive-looking establishment, that, isn't it? There's some great gyms here, actually. Just so much room, isn't there? There's space inside them. It's absolutely sensational. The training facilities available to everybody when they come here are really second to none. But you can see there the intent and the kind of ambition oozing out of him, to be honest with you, because, as Fraser said, they all know what a big chance this is, win, lose or draw. And I did say that to Michael Sykes the other day. Obviously he thinks he's going to win, but I said win, lose or draw, you know, if you box well here, then you'll be back. It'll open up doors. And it just means that everybody takes that ring with the right attitude, which is that I am not going to leave anything in here. I've got to max this chance out.
And you've got to think Octavio here, 36 years old. If he goes out there and gets flattened, that's it. He's not going to get a phone call back. He needs to give a good account of himself if he wants to get back over here.
Well, not just over here, but over anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean,
the eyes of the world.
Yeah. So you're the guy that lost in that great 10-round bout that opened the Ring of Fire show. You know, that's currency for being hired for Britain. That's currency for being hired for Germany, where there's good money. It's simple as that. Because it's certainly not currency for being hired in Lisbon, because that is one fight scene that I know nothing about. Lisbon and Faro, Porto, I know zero. Zippo.
Right there with you, Steve, if I'm honest. Right,
absolutely.
Right
Hands up. You ever boxed the Portuguese guy, Fraser?
Never. I'm about to see one on Saturday, though, and look, he again, I keep talking about his golden ticket, but it's not an exaggeration, Steve.
It's not, is it?
I mean, some of these fighters tonight, you might be able to tell them, listen, save it for Saturday night, because, listen, this is news to everyone. You might get a little bit excited.
Absolutely.
You might get a little bit over the top, you know.
Hey, listen, there's also a chance this is the best he looks all week. You just never know.
Well, it might be the biggest crowd he's ever fought in front of as well.
You're absolutely bang on.
No, there's no need for that. Let's get a bit more positive if we can, Dev, okay? Kid's trying his heart in there.
He absolutely is. Does a bit of MMA as well. He is built like a tank. This man is a through and through fighter, so I'm expecting a fight from him on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what we will get. But Steve makes an interesting point there, because you just don't know how nerves are going to affect people as the week progresses. Early in the week, you might think, wow, this is new, this is great, I love this. And then as you get closer, you might start to shrink a bit. You see it during fight week. Somebody looks a bit nervous at the start, then they get a bit more used to it.
His opponent this Saturday night, a native of Poland, now fighting out of Kyiv, Ukraine. Undefeated with 9 wins, 3 of his 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Daniel Lapin.
Well, here comes the unbeaten Daniel Lapin, very much part of Team Usyk. Trains alongside Oleksandr Usyk, has boxed on plenty of his undercards, and is of course promoted by Usyk 17 Promotions. You can see Serge Lapin in the corner with him. He's a huge light heavyweight, and he hasn't put a foot wrong yet as a pro.
No, he's well scored. I like him. He's a good character. Doesn't lack for confidence. And we talked, I think yesterday or maybe the day before, it's been a long week so far and it's only Wednesday, Dev. We talked about the benefits of being in a camp, and really in a camp. And we had Matt Macklin here, and he talked about being around Ricky Hatton on the big nights, the very big nights and the giant nights, travelling with him. And all of that stuff matters. Because as Andy said, we don't know what happens on the night. For all we know, Octavio, the tank, he might be in that dressing room and come out, and there might be 15,000 and 20,000 there, and he might go, oh, he might fall apart. This kid won't fall apart. He'd walk out in front of 80,000 booing, and he won't fall apart.
He's got that contraption with the ball sort of half attached to his head. Fraser, are you, do you use this as part of your kind of routine? Are you a bit of this?
The simple answer is, Dev, I'm not quite good enough. The coordination's not there. Saying that, Big Joe Joyce, he's a bit of a wizard on that, you know, and it seems to do him all right. But yeah, like I said, another one, this should really relax, open workout, come in, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It looks to me like a man that thinks, you know, the work's done already. It looks like he's had a solid camp, and being in the team that he's in, I imagine that's absolutely right.
Just a quick word, Dev, on Joe Joyce. I know we're talking about a light heavyweight here, but Joe Joyce does lots of things that 6'5", 18 stone men shouldn't be able to do. He does a zillion unbelievable amounts of things. There is no end to Joe Joyce's magic box of tricks that he can perform away from boxing.
Shout out Joe Joyce, and my understanding is there will be some fight news about Joe Joyce dropping next week, so keep an eye out, keep an ear out. Great to bring him up there, Steve. But we are looking at young Daniel Lapin, unbeaten
Yeah, he's
light
just going through the
heavyweight.
gears now.
Yeah.
He's going through the gears, but you know what? You can see it's only a little bit of shadowboxing, but you can see the skill set.
Yeah.
You can see the quality, and other than that, you just look at the size of him. Yeah. You know you're in for an awkward night's work.
That was a big change up then, wasn't it? He went from hitting the ball and moving around, and he went 4 gears up instantly.
Just show you a little bit.
Yeah. Only a touch.
Well, that's Daniel Lappin. We're expecting Thomas Treiber to very shortly announce Isaac Lowe and Isaac Lowe's opponent, who a fight we're looking forward to on Saturday night. But that was Daniel Lappin. I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to seeing Isaac Lowe and his opponent. Isaac Lowe, I don't think he gets enough credit for being a part of Tyson Fury's rebirth by his side.
And he was one of those men that, as we talked about last night evocatively, dropped that ladder down into that pit to help Tyson up, and he was there grabbing him and pulling him out of that pit. You're right, he doesn't get enough respect for what he did. It doesn't have to be the man that puts the money. It doesn't have to be the man you're sparring with. Sometimes it can be the man you're crying with. And there may have been a lot of tears between those two. But you can have that, by the way, Def.
But they're the real ones.
I like that.
They're the real ones.
Crying with.
They're the people you want in your team. He's not looking for credit. He's not looking to be front and centre. He'll do it behind the cameras. He'll do it in the dark. He'll do it on you. He'll be there with you on your best day. And guess what? He's next to you on your worst day as well. That's a real teammate.
That's a real friend. What I liked earlier at the Grand Arrivals yesterday, he was asked a question about Tyson Fury. He said, that's all well and good, but I'm here to fight as well. He's got to fight a very important one, Andy.
Yeah, exactly, and it's great being part of the big camps, and of course you can learn and all that kind of thing, but you want your own big nights. You want to step into a position where you're the one who's bringing fighters younger than you into their experience. You look at that, and you have to be ambitious. It's what you want to aim for, otherwise you may as well go and do something else, because all fighters have to think that way. He has been a bit unlucky as well when you think about the draws he's had for major titles, and a tough night at Wembley against Nick Ball. He's rebuilt since then, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got on the weekend.
I'm looking forward to it too. Let's head back over to Thomas Treiber.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next two fighters competing this Saturday in a scheduled 10-round international featherweight contest. First, let's welcome a native of Afghanistan, now making his home in Dubai. He brings a professional record of 16 wins, just 1 defeat, 5 wins, coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Hasibullah Ahmadi.
Well, here comes Hasibullah Ahmadi. He'll be taking on Isaac Lowe on Saturday night. Important fight, of course, for him. We're talking about Isaac Lowe. What a moment it is for Hasibullah Ahmadi here. 16-1, 5 knockouts. Could be a bit of a banana skin. He's a former WBC Asian featherweight champion. And he's landed himself in Riyadh for a fight against the Westgate warrior, Isaac Lowe. Let's have a look at him.
He looks like a good Uzbek and a good Kazakh. And I'd add to that, he looks like a good Afghan.
He looks like he's tight of the weight.
How much has he got underneath that face?
I don't know, I'm not sure, but I told you a few of them will be using this as an opportunity to shift a couple of pounds. And you can't blame him when you've got this heat. Who needs a sauna or a hot bath?
Well, one of the guys, Dev in a world title fight, obviously isn't one of the heavyweights, one of the guys in a world title fight went running at noon on Monday with that in mind, to shift a bit of weight at noon, and it was a proper run, not a jog, a proper run.
I think, that's probably something we didn't really talk about enough at the start. Some fighters will use it as a workout, get a bit of weight off. I'm thinking of the Kakashi Cordina fight, for example. They've really got to make the weight, and then there's a rehydration the next day as well with the IBF. It's quite a tricky situation.
I wonder with those two, because we all know they're pushing the weight. I wonder if those two, they play a game of mind games and they come in almost topless, not weighted down, no rubber, no sweatpants. Literally, Joe comes in a pair of skimpies, and then Kakashi outdoes him. He's literally got a pair of Speedos on, and he's barefoot. There's no weight problem. What are you talking about? I wouldn't be surprised.
I know Cordina too well. He's a fashionable man. He wouldn't suit skimpies, but he wouldn't wear them.
2 defeats, 3 draws, 8 wins, coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Isaac Westgate Warrior Lowe.
Well, we were hoping for Whitney Houston like we got yesterday from Isaac Lowe, but a bit of Shaka Khan, that never hurt anyone, Stu.
Well, I tell you what, let's open the book on what he's going to come into tomorrow, because he's done Whitney, he's done Chaka, he's doing the Queen's of soul, the queens of music. That should be enough, really. We should just sit in silence now and watch it for 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, we should just enjoy the music. So 2 minutes of silence, please, gentlemen, and all viewers at home, leave your thoughts in the comments.
Seriously though, entrance music is very important. You know, people who think otherwise, you know, they just go and watch something else, because entrance music is absolutely crucial. Usyk's yesterday, I was sitting down there and I just got a shiver down my spine when that started pumping out around the place. It was magnificent.
Again, it's all about whatever makes you feel good this week. To give you that 0.01%, you're looking for it in everything. The music you listen to, the TV you watch, the friend you talk to on the phone, the walk you go on around the complex. Anything you can do to gain half an inch, you're going to do it.
So all of those half inches, you're trying to build a yard, you're trying to build a metre. All of those 0.001%, you're trying to build 10%. Once you get to 10, you're trying to build 100. As you say, it's tiny bits, Fraze. Tiny bits.
And it's all going in one direction. That direction is a you win. You know, you got to do what you got to do to get that victory. And these little moments, that's where you what fights won. In the tiny moments leading up to it, because the work you've done, like we've said a million times, the small details are usually the ones that count the most.
I do remember your first ring walk as well, Fraser. Didn't you have Don't Stop Me Now by Queen?
Yeah.
And it could have been your opponent singing that, Don't Stop Me Now.
Yeah.
Don't stop me. But I think you did stop him in the end, didn't you? Had to. Isaac Lowe looks in shape. I mean, he's been with Fury. People have been talking about Fury's great shape he's in. Isaac Lowe's been in those photos as well, looking good.
And I think sometimes, as Andy said, we've overlooked that sometimes Isaac, he's a really good fighter. You know, the couple of losses in biggish fights, who knows? He wins one of those biggish fights, who knows what he ends up getting? Because he's a quality fight. Let's put it this way. I don't like it when he's sometimes just part of the Fury gang. We overlook his credentials, his standalone credentials.
I don't know him that well, but I think I know him well enough to know that he's definitely his own man. You know, we've seen the back and forth he had. He doesn't take no rubbish off anyone.
No, don't worry about that. No.
And to be fair to him, I was at the York Hall the night he fought
Lopez.
And you know what? He was outclassed, but not for lack of trying. So you know, he's not going to go out without a fight, and that's one thing I do know about him.
And that's the kind of defeat that hasn't aged badly, has it either? Because you look at what he's gone on to do since, and it's kind of an acceptable defeat if you can ever have one.
Well, in that Nick Ball fight, he showed plenty of heart, and that's one thing he's certainly not lacking, Isaac Lowe. Just those two quite high-caliber defeats. Luis Alberto Lopez, a world champion. Nick Ball should be a world champion as well. You take those away, you're looking at a very, very good featherweight contender.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, those two fights against guys not quite as good as Lopez, not quite as promising as Nick Ball, and he wins those two, then who knows what the third in that sequence is. You know, he's vowed to become a really prominent fighter by the tiniest, we talk about tiniest, by the tiniest of margins, Deb.
No, absolutely. I think he's going to, once he's had his water, Ali Drew is jumping in the ring, and we're going to hear from the Westgate Warrior himself ahead of his big fight Saturday night right here in Riyadh on arguably the biggest show ever. Let's hear from him.
Isaac, come over. How are you enjoying this fight week event?
Yeah, I'm loving it. Look at the place where we're at, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is absolutely a dream come true, isn't it? On the biggest stage of all, on the biggest fight of my generation. So, well, yeah, I'm really proud to be a part of it. Thank you for my exes to let us on it. To Spencer and Frank Warren for getting me on, obviously Tyson. But it's time for me to do the business on Saturday night and put myself back in the big league.
Now, it's very, very hot today. What is it like preparing for a fight in these conditions in Saudi Arabia compared to the other ones that you've done before?
What do you mean by England? Pissing down? Obviously it's hard. Conditions are different, you know what I mean? It's 38, 40 degrees every day. But yeah, last time I was here, everyone was here for the last one. It was around about 22, 23, was all right. But this one, it's like being back in Las Vegas again in the heat in June. So yeah, it's all good. Enjoy it, get a bit of a tan. Go back when I go back home.
Now, you're in shorts. Your opponent came into the ring in a hoodie. Did you get a chance to watch him in the ring, or are you focused on yourself?
I watch him on Saturday night when he's in front of me, man and man. That's the only time I'll be watching. He can do what he wants from now to the fight. We're only 3 days away, so I can't wait, baby. Time for me to rock and roll.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Isaac Westgate Warrior Low.
Thing he said, I saw you nodding, saying, "Go on, son. Yes, son. Yes, son." What did you think?
Saying all the right things. Saying all the right things. You know, he's really progressed. Years and years ago, I remember doing a piece with him and Fast Eddie Chambers, and they were like two children together. It was one of the hardest 20 minutes I think I've ever done. And I've watched Isaac develop as a man, and as Fraser correctly says, he is his own man. And I like not just the two fights we talk about him losing there, the Ryan Walsh fight for the British title fight. He's a good fighter. I like the kid.
In a scheduled 10-round contest, it will be for the vacant WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Let's first welcome, coming to us from Hamburg, Germany, his professional record, 25 wins, 3 defeats, with 20 of his 25 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome Ilya Mazhenchev.
They just say 20 or 25 wins can go away now.
Here is Ilya Mazhenchev. On his way to the ring, he will be taking on Moses Itauma on Saturday night. Huge fight, huge stage, and we are about to be joined by a huge man. Mr. John Fury is about to join us here. Big John Fury.
Steve, how you doing?
Yeah, how you
Hello,
doing,
sir.
right?
Yeah, great to see you.
Good to see you, John.
Great to see you. John, it feels like Team Fury are really locked in, dialed in, and all on it this week. Tell me.
Listen, no one will know like the work he's put in for this. You know, I've been there, witnessed it. I've been a bit critical in the past of what he's been doing, but I thought this time he's looking at addressing, and you know, I couldn't be more happier. And I just think it'd be a good fight, but it'd be dealt with properly and easily. That's my opinion. Tyson on this form, his mental attitude, the way he's going about things, you're going to see the best Tyson ever.
It's interesting you say that, John, about in the past you have been critical. You and I have sat and you've pulled him apart. And that's when you've been on the edges and even on the inside. And you've told the absolute truth. You've talked about he's not right. I don't like what I'm seeing. He's getting hit with too many punches. You know, people sometimes forget that. Sometimes forget how critical you've been. Well, I would say validly critical, if you don't mind me saying so. But you have been critical in the past.
Well, listen, we've worked on a lot of other stuff. Worked on slipping and sliding, lateral movement, in and out, all over the place. Angles, footwork. You're going to see a different Tyson. You know, and when you're dealing with people like Oleksandr Usyk, that throws a lot of punches from different angles, you know, he'll have a job to it, Tyson. What I'm seeing, he was on fire this morning, you know, and he's got the speed, lateral speed of a light heavyweight now. So it's going to be good. Hold tight.
Yeah, I think, you know, I've spoken to a few people this week about, and they've almost been shocked at the way Tyson looks and the way that he's standing in the confidence, and I almost find it insulting. It's the biggest fight of his life. It's the biggest fight.
How do you think he's going to look? Yeah.
So he should look like this. You know what I mean? So, you know, people. I think people will be shocked. I think I'll be shocked myself. I can only go off what I seen last time, and we know he wasn't right. And I think what you're going to get is chalk and cheese.
What does Tyson need to be wary of, though? I mean, Oleksandr Usyk, tricky operator. He's done well at heavyweight, clearly. He is the man standing in the opposite corner. What has Tyson got to be concerned about from Oleksandr Usyk?
The way we trained, Dev, absolutely nothing. You know, he's been in with the most dangerous fighter in the world, fought him 3 times on half-mast. You know, he come off an hospital floor in Liverpool 3 weeks in, 2 weeks in the hospital.
With the baby, yeah.
Yeah, he had 3 weeks to train for the most dangerous man on the planet. You know, this fight,
I was sweating already. I only throw about 2 punches.
It is very hot now. We're 3 days out from fight night. Has your mind switched to fight mode yet?
No, not really. I'm finding it hard, to be honest, but don't worry, I'm going to put on a show Saturday night.
Do you feel any pressure? It's so early on in your career. Obviously, you're a heavyweight on this card. Do you feel pressure with that going into Saturday?
Yeah, but I kind of like it. I kind of like the pressure. It keeps me on my toes.
What's the plan for the next few days? Do you chill? Do you build up every day? What happens?
We eat.
You're always chilled. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
John, I was watching you throughout the whole interview there. You were smiling. You like what you see from this young man, right?
Listen, he's got a great future, and if he keeps going on like he's going on and he's match right and not rushed, he could be the next big thing on the block. He's amazing talent. He's got everything, that kid. Attitude. He's got bottle. He's got everything, because we've seen him in the gym with Tyson, you know. And I've got high hopes for the kid. I really have.
John, let me ask you a question. If the fight had taken place when it was meant to take place 2 months ago, 6 or 7 weeks ago, are we getting a better Tyson now? Are we getting is the Tyson now just better than the one that we would have got in the ring back in whenever it was March?
Well, you know me, Steve. I'm a very, very honest, truthful fella.
Yes.
And I was a worried man, you know, because
that's why I asked.
He wasn't in good condition. He had illness one after the other, a chest infection. Things just was not going right. And I'm thinking, you know, this camp has got to be cursed, because he never had any breaks at all. Everything was double hard uphill, and then the cut come. You know, but things happen for a reason, Steve, in life, as we know. And this, I think, can work in his favour massively.
I agree.
Yeah.
John, let me ask you this. Tyson Fury has something that not a lot of heavyweights, not a lot of fighters have, which is that pure blood running through his veins, that fighting blood. The Bartley Gormans, the big Just Burtons, all of those guys. Do you feel like he takes all of that into the ring with him on Saturday?
Well, he's going to do, because it's in his veins, you know. There's all tough men, you know, when there was fighting men, you know, and in them days there's no stopping over a cut eye or a broke nose, you know, or a broke jaw. You carried on until you was going to say, okay, I'm beat. You'd be out there for an hour and a half, taking all sorts, you know. He's got that in him. He comes off a line of tough men, and I was probably the worst one ever bred out of them, you know, but it takes the worst one to beat a good one. And I think I've done that, you know. But listen, Tyson, he's a phenomenon of his era, you know, and to be honest with you, Usyk's a worried man, and I've been around fighting men all my life. I can see inside the soul. He knows he's facing the best Tyson Fury, and what we've worked on, and how he is, and how he's been in camp, and he has put some slog in, because I've slaughtered him, and I mean slaughtered him, because he's needed it, and you're going to see the benefit of that Saturday night, and so's Usyk.
Yeah, John, you know, we usually, Tyson, I've never seen him lose the battle outside of the ring. I've not seen him lose one inside the ring yet. If that mental battle is not getting to Usyk, does that take much away from Tyson in terms of, is he still got the upper hand if the mental side's not working? Do you still think he's still physically in the right place?
Good question, Fraser, but this time Tyson's not doing any mental battles at all, as you can see. Yeah. He's not getting involved in anything mental. He's not bothered, because he knows he's put the time in, he's put the effort in. There's no need for mental games. The only one playing them is them, you know, because they're worried and we're not. I'm 100% confident Saturday night. More confident than any fight I've ever seen him have, ever. Wow. And I've been nervous about a few. This one, look at me.
Well, that's staggering.
A cucumber. You know why? We put the work in.
Listen, we know that belts don't always mean a lot to Tyson Fury. He has won every belt that there is, but not held them all at the same time. But what would it mean to the Fury family to be able to say that Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, was the undisputed world heavyweight champion? What does it mean to the Fury family?
Well, let's put it this way. He says this, he says that about them belts. They mean the world and more to me and his brothers and his family. It's our name, it's our legacy, and deep down inside of Tyson, he's as deep as the ocean. He cares about them belts dramatically, and he wants them belts like we all do. You know, and it'll be a dream come true. You know, we're at the top of the game, and it'll be icing on the cake, and I think I'll be drunk for a month, and I'll party for 12 months. You know, it means the world, Deb. You can see how we all are. We're passionate about it. Emotions run high. You know, we're invested in this fight, you know, because it's intriguing. Usyk's done his job. Usyk is rated. They think he's better than Tyson. You know, but I believe that'll bring the best out of both men. You're going to see a cracking bout. Usyk's going to bring his A game, I hope. I hope I see the best Usyk, because I want the best man to fight the best man at the best. And I think that's going to happen Saturday night. And the best man will win. And win, lose, or draw, I'll be the first one to say congratulations to both boys. You know, for sportsmen at the end of the day. But I know one thing. He's going to produce a lot more than I've seen, 10 times more, to even come close to this Gypsy King on Saturday night.
And I must say, John, other than just the Fury family, this is me speaking as a British heavyweight.
Yeah.
I think there should be a proud country. You know, like this is unbelievable for England. You know, Britain, not just a family, because it's been so long.
Yeah, of course.
And you know what? Like, what he's doing, it's almost like the England football team going and winning a major trophy, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
we're behind them. When the World Cup's on, we support them all the way. When you boxed the other night with Fabio, was all on the TV, we all bought the pay-per-view, and you served up an absolute blinder for us.
Didn't he just?
And you got my support and all my family. And Fabio Wardley. 2 heavyweights of the future. Well done, both boys.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
You know what, John? We've had some chats, you and I, over the years.
We have, Steve.
In some odd locations over the years. But tonight, you're in ace form, and I can tell.
Yeah.
And I know why, because I can see that look in your eyes, and you're going back in history. You're thinking, this isn't just about tonight.
No.
Isn't just about last year or the year before.
Absolutely
This
not.
is about 100 years of culture, 100 years of heritage, 100 years of tradition. And that's what you're about, John boy.
Give me goosebumps, Steve.
That's what I try to do, John.
Yeah, well, listen, it's working. But all I can say, the only winners here are the fans. It's going to be a great fight. Ukraine's a great country, they're great people. They've got their own problems, got to be with them all. Hope it gets sorted out. But, you know, they're putting their best foot forward with their best man. You know, and Usyk, for my money, is clearly the second best heavyweight in the world. So, there you are. Don't forget to tune in Saturday night.
Perfect. John Fury, we're going to let you go. I don't
Thank
think
you,
we
Dave.
can top that. Thank you so much, my friend.
Steve, as always, a pleasure. Young Fraser, good luck in the future, my friend. God bless
Big
you.
John
Thanks,
Fury. Brilliant stuff from Big John. Let's head back over to Thomas Treiber, who was just introduced. Big Rob Safar. Actually, I think he's already introduced him. So this is Big Rob Safar making his way to the ring. He will be taking on Sergey Kovalev on Saturday night. And I guess it's a big moment, Andy, to bring you back in here, to swap you out for Big John. It's a big moment for Sergey Kovalev as well. I mean, for years he reigned a reign of terror over the light heavyweight division. He's now up at cruiserweight. He's been pretty inactive. Chance to show the world if the Crusher still exists, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was kind of strange, you know, seeing him on Monday. He came in to get his photos done and do a quick interview, and then all of the ruckus kicked off outside, and he was at the door filming it like everybody else, and he was kind of unnoticed. And I looked at him, and me and Fraser were talking about it afterwards, and we both just thought, this guy, not that long ago, was the most feared fighter on the planet. You know, he was the man. But all of a sudden, well, it's not all of a sudden, but your time passes, and then it's somebody else's, and you have to go not to the back of the queue, but you just drop down so many rungs. And what he's got left in him at cruiserweight, who knows? Maybe we won't get too much of an answer this weekend, but I look at someone like him and I do feel like he probably hasn't really had the due credit for what he achieved in his career that he could have got, because you look at those 2 fights against Andre Ward and they could have turned out very differently. One was a razor-thin decision, the other was a difficult decision that had to be made. So it's been a bit of a thrill for me, to be honest, seeing Kovalev this week, because he maybe isn't anymore a supersonic fighter.
But we don't know that, do we? We don't know that. I mean, you know, Father Time is around us and is amongst us. But like you said, exactly that. At one time, he had that sort of Triple G thing about him, didn't he? You know, where
with a bit of nastiness thrown in.
He's got to smash you to pieces, and he was so excited. And this is before he went massive. And I used to watch him when he wasn't on such big cards. You know, he was on a card in America in a casino. I thought, wow, who's this?
Steve, I'm guessing, Steve, you were there the night he boxed Cleverly, because people talked to me about that in hushed tones, that this guy, you know, arrived and he just unloaded, and you were watching something and you were almost kind of watching it through your hands, because just the sound of the punches landing.
So nasty.
Well, we're about to be joined very shortly by a young heavyweight who has a big fight on Saturday night, Moses Itauma. And I think he's going to park up right next to Fraser Clark, which is a nice image, which I'm sure we'll put on the screen. Good to see you, Moses. Francis, how are we?
Salam alaikum.
So Moses Itauma, big fight for you Saturday.
Yeah.
First title fight, up there, look cool, look calm. Yesterday, look cool, look calm. Tomorrow, you'll look cool, you look calm. You just cool and calm.
That's part of the plan. Maybe I'll get it from my dad, it's too laid back, but yeah, 100%, my first title, hopefully not the last, and for sure I'm looking forward to these big nights.
Fraser, I've actually sat ringside with you before watching a Moses Talma fight. I think it was possibly in Telford as well,
Yeah.
and you were kind of like, well, this guy's quite something, right?
Well, I think it's common knowledge. I'm a big boxing fan, and when this young man was coming through in the amateurs, and I was watching him, I was sure we was destined for an Olympic champion. He chose to turn professional, and ever since, you know, some people might have said, oh, he could have gained a bit more experience. He's doing the learning here, and isn't he doing it so well? I'm loving watching it. I'm trying to avoid his backhand from afar, if I'm honest. But he's doing ever so well, and honest to God, like I say, I'm a fan. And I hope one day he does win more titles, and I hope one day me and him headline over here for a world title.
100%.
That sounds pretty good, Francis.
Sounds good, and you know, Fraser's always been very complimentary about Moses, and I'm sure the feeling's mutual. So it's nice to see a bit, you know, good respect between the guys.
100%.
And you know, he's coming on leaps and bounds every fight, every training camp he's gaining experience. Doing some great learning in the gym. I know his first camp with Ben's gone very well, and on to his first title fight, which is it's big news for him.
Ben's floating around here at the moment. We're going to get Ben up here and talk to us in a minute. And we didn't have a chance to really talk to you about the whole Ben thing. You know, are you, when you're there, Moses, is it like an old squad, you know, England squad or club, or are you coming in at staggered times?
No, we're coming in staggered times, but obviously there's some times where our times may clash, and I may see Anthony Joshua, and I'll ask him a few questions, and it kind of like, it's nice to know that I've got someone to ask questions, and he's been somewhere where I want to go. So it makes life easier.
Because you are a sponge. That's a compliment. No,
100%.
he's a monster sponge. Honestly, I've sat with him, and you can almost see him absorbing what you're saying. He ain't listening, he's absorbing it.
Yeah,
he's taking it in. And then you'll say something about him, right? 6 months later, he'll pull you over and he'll say, yeah, I really like that, Steve. Don't wait. He's a sponge, man. And sponges are good.
Absolutely.
Sponges are good.
Sponges are good.
I think it's a great move, you know, him go with Ben and seeing the likes of Joshua around, because almost like a good young football team.
Yeah.
It's not quite as good without a few solid pros in the middle.
Yeah, great
and I
point.
think all it does is bring you on, and like I say, he's in good hands, and you know, I hope he's not in too good hands. He's not learning too much, because one day, you know, I think we'll clash out here in a big one.
That'd be a big fight one day, Moses. You and Big
100%,
Fraser.
imagine. That's some tickets.
How many big fights have we got in the heavyweight division over the next 10 years?
Loads.
Just involving British fights. No, I'm being honest. We've got 30 fights.
Well, I mean, you know, the great fight that Fraser and Fabio had, it was absolutely spectacular.
Massive.
You haven't even got to look outside the UK for the top fight. So the abundance of talent on here, the abundance of talent we've got in the UK, happy times for everybody.
Back in England, Fabio's going, oh, I am me. David Adelaide's going, oh, I am me. Joe Joyce is going, oh, I am me.
Don't get Sol.
Don't drop me
Sol
out.
as well.
Sol saying, oh, I am me.
They're all great
Don't
fighters,
forget
and they're all in the conversation for sure.
Francis, I think we're going to swap you out. We're going to get a bit of trainer words. Let's find out what this relationship is going like. Ben Davison, great to see you. New charge here in Moses Talma.
Yeah.
Is he any good?
Not too bad.
Hold on.
No, I think it's very rare to come across a heavyweight whose skills could match those of somebody at any weight across the board. But that's what we've got here. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited about the future.
How's he settling into the gym? It sounds like there's staggered times, but sometimes he gets a little bit of advice off of AJ as well.
Yeah.
Feels like a good vibe over there.
Yeah, fantastic. And I like that. I like to try and create a team environment where they can all learn from each other. Don't want to put words in his mouth, but I feel like he's come and his eyes have been opened to a degree in new ways of looking at the sport, and I feel like that's ignited the fire in him. He's passionate about the sport of boxing, and that excites us as coaches.
Ben, I think, you know, I call him a sponge. I said I think he's a good, I mean, not putting words in your mouth. He's a good listener, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a really good listener.
I'll try my best.
Yeah, very coachable, and he'll go into a spar and he'll try and put into practice what you're trying to teach and what you're trying to encourage, and that is a sign of somebody that will go far, whether they've got talent or not. And luckily, we've got plenty of talent.
It's a bonus.
And how are you adjusting to working under Ben? I know that Lee Wiley and Ben very meticulous in their preparation, a lot of videotape, a lot of slowing things down. How are you adjusting to that?
No, 100%. It's not really a lot of adjusting. I feel like I'm kind of used to it. As an amateur, I was always training with my club coaches and then GB coaches and then England coaches. So like, I'm kind of used to it, but yeah, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing, especially last year, this year, and hopefully new beginnings.
Listen, you spent time with Tyson Fury up in his camp as well. Biggest fight of his life on Saturday night against his toughest opponent, is what he's saying as well. How did he look to you in those, the time that you spent with him?
No, 100%, very good, very good. Even also him being in this camp, he passed on a lot of knowledge. And I'm very appreciative of that, and I hope he does the job on Saturday night.
Ben, can I ask you a question? You and Lee are forensic the way you prepare your fighters. 8-rounders, title fights, major fights, make or break fights.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, would you like to be preparing a fighter to fight Usyk or Tyson Fury? Which one of them would you prefer to prepare a fighter for?
Just being honest, I'm quite soft-hearted, and it always stands in my mind when AJ got upset after the second Usyk fight. I didn't even know him at the time. But that resonates with me, with someone who's just desperate to, and I'm very confident that we could put that right. Obviously, knowing that he was coming to the gym, we looked at that fight and we showed him some examples, and I feel like that's now giving him confidence that actually, if I do these things, I'm very confident of being able to win that fight. So, if I had my choice, that'd be it.
Are you patient with him, or do you take it to him, Ben? You're fighting Usyk. You're patient with him, you take it to him, or a bit of both?
Can't say.
The problem is Usyk's very well rounded. He's good enough to make adjustments. I feel like there's going to be ebbs and flows, and there's going to be adjustments from both guys on Saturday, and they're good enough both to make those adjustments. I think you can't just, again, for example, AJ tried to approach the fight with two different styles. Fight one, fight two. It's understanding scenarios, how to create scenarios, how to understand tendencies that the fighter's got and how you can exploit them. And I'm very confident we'd be able to be successful if that opportunity come up.
Fantastic stuff, Ben Davison, Moses Atama. We're going to let you go.
Thank you.
I'll take that. I'll take the handshake and the mic. There you go. It's the Moses Atama. This is always fun at the end when we see people off with handshakes. Moses Atama, Andy Clark is going to join us, and in the ring behind us is Ajit Kabayao, who gets a cheer from the crowd. And it's a big fight for him. Look, I think if you're Moses Atama, you're probably turning around, and Big Frazier, you're probably looking around at the room and looking at potential future fights. Ajit Kabayao's a fighter in your division. He's not too much, you're around the same sort of age. It could happen.
I was over there 2 weeks ago, sparring with him, yeah. I was on holiday, and I had a message, can you get over to Germany when you're back? It didn't go down with the message, down well, but I went nevertheless because it's a great experience, and I must say, I've been in with a lot of fighters. I've been in with no heavyweights that punch in combinations as well as Caballero.
Wow.
Honest to God, he has really got good hands, and he's a really fit guy as well, works really hard. But the one thing that surprised me, I've seen it in his fights, he throws a good variation of shots, but when I was in there with him, I was shocked. He throws combinations like a light heavyweight, really good.
It's a strange move getting you over to spar in preparation for Frank Sanchez, though, isn't it?
Well,
in a way.
It is. I've got not a Cuban bone in my body, and that's the truth. But I think at this stage of his camp, I'm not sure if they'd already done the preparation in terms of stylistically. I think he just wanted some solid rounds. I'm not even sure if he'd blasted a few people out, and obviously I can go in there and do a job, and not just do a job for him. It was fantastic for me, the experience, the level he's at, and he's boxing on these big shows. I like to see how they train, how they prepare, and what they're doing that I could possibly add to my game.
We talked about this fight yesterday. Sorry, Depp, I'm cutting across. We talked about this fight yesterday. So they're both unbeaten, I think, in 24, which is odd. And they've both been thrown in to lose. I don't give a monkey's what anyone says. He was thrown in to lose Sanchez against Effie Jogba back on the undercard of Tyson Fury against Johnny Wilder 3, I believe. And he was thrown in Ajit, without a doubt, against Arslan Bekmambetov, without a doubt. So these two here, they should be in this ring 23-1, maybe fighting each other. They shocked and upset a lot of people in those two fights, and that's what I find particularly enticing about this matchup.
It was really good to actually spend time with him, and not just the boxing, the sparring, just to talk to him. I think with him being in Germany and with the boxing scene not being as big as it is, these opportunities are not even that big. They're crucial for him. They're massive for him because, he said to me openly, like, the German people, that he's not got that much of a following. This gives his eyes to the world, and with that knockout he had last time,
brilliant. Yeah.
That's made people go, wow, this is a real fighter. So I think this is his stage, and he's come to perform, no doubt about it. He's really come to put a show on.
He needed that fight last time out so badly against Makhmudov, because I saw him box on a COVID show in summer 2020 outside in front of about 500 people. Later that year, he almost got a fight with Tyson Fury, but he went back after that and won the European title for the second time because he just didn't really have any other options. He felt like he deserved to step up. He got one against Makhmudov, and Steve's absolutely right. People thought that Makhmudov would take him out. He had other ideas. Winner stays on. And here he is against Sanchez. It's great, isn't it? Because that Jagba fight was a massive result, wasn't it? Massive result.
And it was and I was there. It was a boxing lesson.
Yeah,
it was a shutout.
Dominated.
It's close to a shutout. I mean, he wasn't given that much chance. We say about Sanchez, he had a half paper round, so no one quite knows exactly how. Not quite Ortiz, not in Ortiz territory, but not dissimilar. And he boxed a dream that night. Frank, I was delighted with him.
Jagba was completely demoralised by the end, wasn't he?
Had no idea what was going on.
It was one of those things where the top-ranked matchmakers are so good, but after the event you looked at it and just thought, what were they thinking, putting him in with someone like Sanchez?
He wasn't as demoralised as Arslanbek Makhmudov when he got that bash, because that was just, I mean, from ringside, that was staggering. And he did it, I thought it was brilliant that night. Brilliant, absolutely flawless.
And let's not forget the kind of reputation that Makhmudov had heading into that. Everyone was talking about how he was doing that terrifying sort of thing with his neck, like he had this Terminator vibe about him.
That's what he was.
He was meant to just go through Caballero, right?
Can't out if you can't do the fundamentals, unfortunately. You know, you can be as big and scary as you want, but boxing fundamentals get you a long way. Exactly the same in Frank Sanchez. Listen, we don't have to talk about the school he comes from, but we know they do things properly, and he's done it for years and years, so you can't turn up half-hearted against these kind of opponents. You know why? Because they take you out. They do what they're doing. It might not be super exciting, it might not catch the eye, but they'll do it well, and they'll do it for the duration.
What was maybe really surprising about Makhmudov losing was he's surrounded by good people, boxing people, not idiots, not novices, and they were as stunned as he was. Whereas, I'm not being an after-timer, I wasn't stunned. It was obvious what he was. He was a slightly slicker Ivan Drago. Let's not mince our words. And he was great. He was marketable, and he was brilliant, and no doubt he had guts and he could bang if you stood in front of him. But some of the people around him, they were genuinely shocked because they thought they'd be back here probably in November fighting Usyk or fighting Joshua or fighting Tyson, and as the favourite. I mean, that was their mentality, Andy. And I'm wondering, it's an interesting thing, Fraser, when you've got people around you who are telling you non-stop, you can't lose. And then that's what they must have been telling him. They're so confident. Can you get overconfident?
It's a sin. It's a sin in this game, Steve. You cannot, in this division, it is a sin to think that you're even going to go in there and come out in the same condition, let alone come out victorious and then go and enjoy a camel ride inside. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? You've got to come as the underdog every time. You've got to come with that mentality that winner stays on. If I lose, I'm out. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm expecting every fight. I want to see life and death from the fighters.
And you will.
Listen, and nothing says winner stay on like Sanchez beating Junior Farr at the Day of Reckoning, Caballero beating Makhmudov at the Day of Reckoning, them two having a fight with each other on this big show. Nothing says it like that, Andy.
No, absolutely. The rankings these two got between them, absolutely sensational, because Makhmudov, off the back of not that much, had incredible rankings, and Caballero beat him and just took them all off him. So this is 2 versus 3 with the WBC. AJ's number 1, but it's been billed as a final eliminator.
That's right.
And Caballero, you know, we talked about Isaac Lowe a bit earlier on, and a massive part of any professional sport is just sheer bloody-minded perseverance, you know, keeping that belief when other people might have lost it. As our good pal Matt Macklin likes to say, you know, success is going from one failure to the next without losing enthusiasm. You know, that's one of his favourites, but it is that, isn't it? Because you just got to keep pushing, and the opportunity will come, and then you have to take it, and he really did take it.
And what Saudi has done with its kind of unofficial league, we talked about this last night, with whatever it is, 16 of the world's top 20 heavyweights having fought here since we all started this movement in October. And this is not me being pro-Saudi, this is me being pro what's happening here. Doesn't make me pro-Saudi, it makes me a supporter of the unbelievable boxing that we're managing to get here. With all those fighters, you know, you can lose here and come back. We worked that one out. You can get recycled here. As long as you give it something, as long as you give it some love in that ring, as long as you give it a go in that, trying to. There's no way to lose with this fight, assuming it's not a draw. Doesn't fight back here in October. There's no way. There's absolutely no way the loser doesn't fight back here in October. Who knows? It might even be a rematch.
There may even be a rematch. You're looking at the unbeaten Cuban heavyweight Frank Sanchez, and tell me, Fraser, what does he do well? You know, you're a boxing fan. Tell me a little bit about Frank Sanchez here.
Straight away, I'm looking at his feet. You know, it's the movement. yeah, he can punch. Yeah, he's got. But look at the movement. He's moving like a middleweight there.
Hey. And Mr. Ajit Kabayel has joined us. Ajit Kabayel, another hard fight for you on Saturday. Previously, you took on the Lion. You became the Lion Tamer. And now you've got Frank Sanchez. Big fight, hard fight.
Yes, you know, this is a hard way, you know, we trained for this. I had a good training camp with Fraser Clark. Yes. Thank you, brother, for the help, for the sparring. We are ready for Saturday.
Fraser, you were saying you weren't really sure why you were brought in for camp. You're not much like Sanchez, or Andy was saying that. How were those rounds? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I think we was at the stage of camp where he wanted solid work, you know, and I will give it every one of us sparring partners. This man put himself through hell. I'll tell you that.
Thank you, brother.
There were some spars where, you know, I was concerned because he was really biting out his gum shield. But in these fights, in these situations, he might just have to do that on Saturday night. So what I do know is the victory, when it comes for Ajit, was in the preparation. Because he went to dark places at times, and I'm glad I could help him. I learned an awful lot, and him and his team were so supportive of me, and hopefully I'll return there, you know, again, and we can do some great training together.
Thank you, brother, thank you.
Ajit, so the last time out, we talked about it, you and I. You were meant to be knocked out. You were meant to lose. This time you're fighting a different kind of guy. Lots of movement. And maybe people still think you're going to lose. What is it with people? Tell them you're a winner.
I don't know. The people don't like me, no? I don't know why.
I like you.
Thank you, brother. We train hard, you know. This is the next challenge from me. He have a good footwork. He have a good boxing skills. He like a Cuban style. I have a good sparring partner in my camp. Cuban, good, and help me. Yeah. Really, we train very hard for the fight. I'm ready. Let's go.
I think the Cuban guy in camp. What's his name again? Sorry.
Jose Laduet.
I think he didn't just help you in terms of sparring. I think he helped you understand the Cuban style a little bit. And the way the Cuban goes. I think that could have a little bit. You know, it could add a little bit.
We've just seen Frank Sanchez on the screen. He's just completed his workout. What do you think of Frank Sanchez?
He's a good fighter, you know. He's 24-0. He never loses in his career. I think for him it's also the big challenge, you know. And we will see, you know. I said I hate prediction.
I didn't ask you for one.
You know, we will see. I'm ready.
David, let me just say something. He's fast becoming my favourite heavyweight outside of the UK. Stop it, Fraser. Outside of the UK, he's fast becoming my favourite heavyweight.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
It felt like that was a kind of a breakout win for you last time against Makhmudov. For a while, you were the guy who just beat Chisora a few years ago, and then we didn't hear from you. But now your career looks like it's really heading up because of Riyadh, because of Riyadh's season. You're in a great place, Ajit.
Yes, of course, you know. We train for this, you know. In every training we give hard work, and now we stay here. I don't know what's coming in the future, but we will see.
We spoke about it. We was on the treadmill at the end of the session. Both of us were having a chat with each other. We spoke about boxing, and when opportunities arrive, you have to be ready to take them. And that's why this man was telling me he stayed fit, he stayed ready, and I think that helped him in his last fight. And I think I will also add him coming into this fight, you know. He told me he dropped a few kilos, but it wasn't difficult for him to get into the shape he needs to get into because he was staying on it. He was always on it. He was very professional. And hopefully, Saturday night, that might be the difference. I don't know Frank personally, Frank Sanchez, but I know this man is prepared well in the gym, prepared well for the battle, and you know, I think that would all come to fruition.
Thank you for the nice word, brother. Really
no worries, brother. No worries.
There you go. Ajit Kabayel, we'll let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck to you on Saturday night. Ajit Kabayel. What a lovely man, Steve. Yeah. What a lovely man.
You know, he's a lovely man, but we saw him break down Arslan Bekmurmud of all that height and weight and danger, and we saw him slowly break him down, and we saw him start to hurt him, and we saw Ajit start to enjoy hurting him. It was quality, it was class. Don't be fooled by how nice he is in the ring. He is proper fearsome.
We're about to be joined by a Fury. Tommy Fury is joining us. Please come in and join us, Tommy. Great to see you. How are you, mate?
Got big Tom.
We spoke to John earlier. John said the entire Fury team, the entire Fury camp, the entire Fury family is dialed in and ready for Saturday night. Tell us.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Tyson's in the best shape possible. Everyone can see by the pictures and whatnot, he's in fantastic condition. I think the thing with Tyson is he needs a challenge to get up for. The past couple of fights hasn't really presented that. This time it's a different story. You know, he's got an unbelievable elite fighter in Usyk, undefeated, unified world champion. You're going to see the best Tyson on Saturday that you've ever seen.
What's the big difference between this Tyson now compared to, I know, the public workout day of the Francis Ngannou fight? Because he was telling us then he's in great shape, he's done 12 weeks of training. What's the difference?
I mean, and then, like I said before, Tyson needs something to get up for. You know, he needs a person in front of him who everybody thinks is going to beat him and not give him a chance. Look at when everyone thought that about Klitschko. Turned up, whooped him, scored him in Germany. So I think he needs that to get the best out of himself. And like I said, on Saturday night, he's got Usyk. You know, an elite fighter, he go down in history, and he's got that now. And, you know, the whole world's watching, all the belts, all the marbles on the line. The biggest fight in 50 years. It gets no bigger than this. So, in my opinion, Tyson always rises to the occasion. And Saturday night, he'll rise again.
When you're around him, Tom, you've been around him a long time. You were in the ring, you looked about 12 out in Dusseldorf. You remember that all those years ago? You did as well. When you're around him, are there things you look for? Like little signs to make sure he's in the right place? That he's not, like suddenly he's not a bit surly at breakfast, or suddenly he's maybe gone for a walk on his own. Are there any signs that you look for? Any tells of him?
Yeah, I mean, just day to day, you know, when he's walking around, you know, you see the look on his face, you know. But for this, you can just tell, like, he's focused and dialed in. There's no messing, like, this is not a joke, it's serious business. And he's in the correct state of mind, he's perfect. Everything right now is perfect, there's nothing off. So I'm happy. It couldn't have come at a better time. And there's only a few days to go. And I know what the result's going to be, because I've never seen him look this good in the gym.
Tommy, just away from boxing, I've got an older brother myself, and I look up to him in loads of ways. He's literally my hero, my best friend. Now, you must be used to it now. You've seen your brother in big fight after big fight after big fight. Do you get used to that feeling, or is it something that do you still get the nerves?
Yeah, no, it's horrible, to be honest. There's not one family member down there that enjoys fight night. You know, the only time we enjoy it is like an hour after the fight when it's done and it's over and we've got the result. But like fight week and on fight night, it's horrible. You just got that sickly feeling in your stomach, you know, because I'd sooner fight myself than watch him fight. It's a worse feeling. So we're just all happy when he's performed, he's done the business and he's out of there. That's when we can start feeling happy again. But, you know, we're excited, but also it's heavyweight boxing and it's a dangerous game. But he's prepared right, he's done the work right. My dad's been there all the way through camp, and he's in the best shape possible. And like I say, I know he's going to do the business on Saturday.
We were speaking to John earlier, and he was talking about how the title of Undisputed Heavyweight Champion, whilst Tyson says maybe it doesn't mean too much to him, to the Fury family, it is quite something. It's quite a legacy, Tommy.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like I say, you know, Tyson's been here before. He's got all the belts that he's fighting for on Saturday night. He's got at home in the cabinet. You know, he's been here before. He's been at this level before. And, you know, he, in my opinion, I'm not being biased, anyone can say what it is. For me, he's the best to ever do it. The man that size, the way he moves, switch hitter, fast, he can punch. He's got heart of a lion, gets up every time. Like, that for me just ticks every single box. So, you know, that's my version of it. And I know on Saturday, the legacy's just going to go one step further, because he's not come this far, and I know what type of headspace he's in, and he's going to do it on Saturday night.
Do you feel like he's changed much down the years in terms of his mentality, in terms of how he approaches a fight mentally as he's won titles, as he's risen higher up the sport, or has his focus always been roughly the same?
Tyson, you know, he's always been that cool, calm, collective character. You know, he never gets pressured up with a fight. You know, he can be on the biggest stage possible, but it'd be like he's going for a cup of tea down at the coffee shop. Like, he just doesn't get pressured up with it. You know, all this is great, but on Saturday night, all of this goes away. It comes down to the two fighters in the ring, and Tyson's in that square circle there. He's the best at it, mentally, physically. He just knows what to do when he's in there. And fight week, he knows how to present himself. He knows how to conserve his energy. He's a veteran at the game. He's had 30, 35, whatever pro fights he's had. You know, there's not much more he has to learn about boxing. He knows what he has to do, and he knows he has to go in on Saturday and do it.
All right, Tommy, let's let the elephant out of the room. Yeah, you know what's going. Don't put your microphone down. Are we going to see you back in the ring?
Oh, 100%, 100%. I feel like everybody.
Well, give us a clue, then.
Well,
give us a clue. Tell us. Give us some clues.
Like I say, everybody knows I had the surgery in January. That's gone perfectly well. I can make a full fist now. Spoke to the doctor, and I think end of the year I'll be back in the ring. So that's what the plan is.
Top boy, Tom.
Okay, Tommy, we're going to let you go. Can't wait to see you back in the ring, and I'm sure we'll see you around in Fight Week.
Thank you, mate. God bless.
That's the good hand now, right?
That's the good hand.
That's the good hand.
See you later, Tom.
Yeah, man.
Thank
Cheers,
God.
guys.
His hand is all good. Let's just shuffle around, please, gentlemen. That was Tommy Fury. That's the second Fury family member that we've had on.
Might not be the last.
Might
not be the last.
Look, I want to get Shane. I can talk to Shane for days.
Shane's just down here doing some other work, like on my elbow on the right, yeah.
But they are ready, aren't they? You can just sense it. There's something about them.
Yeah, I thought he was unbelievably calm there, and I thought that was a great bit of truth when he said, "No, we're all sickened on fight night. My guts are going. Everyone's struggling." Because I've seen that, and I've thought that, and I've sort of knew that, but that's the first time I think I've ever heard a Fury member acknowledge that on fight night we're all in a right state back there. And of course they can't show they're in a right state because Tyson's a big thick-skinned lad, don't get me wrong, but he can't have his brothers coming out of the toilet because they've been on their knees with their head down a toilet bowl, can he? So they got to put on a front. Phew, that's bad.
It is. Yeah, absolutely is. I've been talking to people about this exact thing a lot over the last year or so, and what you discover, basically, and he said it to me on Monday, Fury, is that at this kind of level, when you've got someone coming out of the other corner who's also very good, who's equally as determined that they're going to win, is equally as convinced they're going to win, is prepared to do whatever it takes to win, you know that when the bell goes, the controllables, as in your preparation, that's over. And then whatever happens, because you can't both win. And it's the same for people watching. They know what can happen in there. They've been around this a long time.
Well, let's head over to Thomas Treiber introducing our next fighter.
Super Featherweight Championships of the World. Let's first welcome to the ring, coming to us from Belfast, Northern Ireland. He brings a professional record of 21 wins, just one defeat, 7 wins, coming by way of knockout. Here is the reigning and defending IBO Super Featherweight Champion of the World, Anthony, the Andy Town Apache Kakachi.
What are we talking about?
Well, I think it will be Jayal Pataya coming to the ring. I'm delighted to be joined by George Warren. George, you don't give many interviews, so this is great. Thanks for joining us.
It's a big event, Dave.
Yeah.
Big event, so I'm here.
I'll tell you what, by the beginning of June, there would have been 5 big events in Riyadh. This is the home of big-time boxing now, isn't it?
Oh, look, it's the destination for major sport. You're seeing it across a lot of other sports. Snooker's been here. Major football signings, but this is the home of boxing. This home of world boxing. The biggest events in the world are happening in Riyadh season.
And you've been around so many fight weeks, either as a child, with Frank, or as an adult here, being part of it all. How big is this?
Doesn't get bigger. I think it's on record now. It's the biggest fight of the century. We were fortunate enough, a few of us today, to spend a bit of lunch with Lennox Lewis and hearing the stories of him doing it all those years ago. You kind of have to pinch yourself to realise that it's happening again. You've got 2 absolutely superb athletes, best in their division by an absolute mile, in my opinion. The number 1, the number 2. Going to finally settle it. We've had a couple of setbacks with postponements and injuries and negotiations, but the reality is His Excellency's helped and made this happen. Saturday night we're going to see who's the winner. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
George, I'm pleased you mentioned that about having to pinch yourself, because I get that way on most fights I go to, especially ones like this. So I'm really pleased you had that when you're having that lunch today with Lennox Lewis. This whole event feels a bit like that. You go home after you've been on here for a couple of hours, you have a shower, and you're sitting there, and you're thinking, this is going to happen. There's going to be 20,000+. It's sold out. A fight that no one thought could be made is going to be made. We're going to get one man lead the ring with all those belts, first time in the 4-belt era. If you're a boxing fan, or even a casual boxing fan, you've got to pinch yourself. It's unbelievable times we're walking and living in.
It's that, like you just said, this is the moment that everyone is going to realise Saturday night. Everyone's going to remember where they were.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to know who they were with when they were watching it, and everyone's going to be absolutely dumbfounded with what is going to be a spectacle, an amazing undercard. We've got an amazing build-up coming all fight week. Everything here is just coming together so nicely. Saturday night, I cannot wait.
George, you speak about things coming together nicely, and I don't think people grasp this at home. But being here and seeing everything that goes into it, all the people that are working on it, people from back home that I recognise from the shows, everyone seems to be pulling their weight. The people from Saudi are working hard. What goes into this? Like, can you just give us a bit of an idea of how much goes into it? Because
hello, you got friends.
I know, just in a brief. But as a fan, I'm sitting there thinking, how is it even possible? Because it just looks like the biggest and best team effort I've seen in a boxing arena ever.
Well, that's very much appreciated. So I think a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of negotiations at the beginning, a lot of people coming together, like-minded people that want to see events that create history, and that's what we got on Saturday night. I can't thank enough the team out here, the team at Seller and Gia, for all the hard work they're doing. My team at Queensbury have done a fantastic job. All the promoters that are involved, it's been a pleasure to work with. Some that maybe we didn't think we'd be working with as regularly as we are at the moment. But look, we're all thriving at the moment. There's investment in the sport, and it's creating these moments. And these are things that we all, like I keep saying, pinch yourself. Because 1 minute it's here, 1 minute it might not be. And right now, enjoy it, because this is it.
Well, I'll say it for myself and the rest of us boxing fans. Thank you, because it's happening in a few days.
No, it's incredible. So, crucial question. How many times a day do you charge your phone?
It doesn't come off charge. Let's say that. Let's say that.
I thought not. Yeah. But do you give yourself moments to just kind of have a step back, like Steve described, and just have a look at what you've done, all of you?
Look, I mean, we're fans at heart. We're boxing fans. We do this, and we're very fortunate. We work in a career that we enjoy, and we sit here and we get to watch the best of the best do this on the biggest stages. So for me, that's, we all go to work to make money, and that's what makes the world go round. But that is the thing that drives it. That's where the enthusiasm comes from. In terms of taking time to enjoy it, look, I want to see a great fight. I want our guy to win. I'm fully convinced that Tyson will come through and be successful, and then I'm looking forward to returning on Sunday, spending a bit of time with my family, and maybe getting some sleep.
Yeah, not for very long though.
No, week off. Well, week back to the UK, and then we're back out here, obviously, for the 5v5, and we've got all that excitement to look forward to.
George, it's all building up nicely. We are going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
Thanks, George.
We're going to head back over to Ali Drew, who's joined by Jai Opataya.
We're always growing, we're always learning, we're always progressing, and I'm looking on putting a career best performance.
As well as yourself being a better fighter, are you expecting a better version of Breeders on the night?
Yeah, I'm expecting the best version of Breeders. I'm prepared for the best version of Breeders. So anything less than 12 rounds of war, I'll be disappointed.
Well, you say that, but I have just heard Eddie Hearn say that he believes that you will get the knockout on Saturday. Do you think that's going to be the case? Do you think that's how it ends?
I'm prepared for 12 rounds of war. If the knockout comes, it comes. But I'm ready for 12 hard rounds.
Focused in. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, that was Jai Opataya, who has been training for 12 hard rounds. Now, he had to go 12 hard rounds last time he fought Maris Bradis. Within those 12 hard rounds, his jaw was broken by Maris Bradis. This is a tough fight.
And I think he re-damaged the damaged hand that had been damaged for an awful long time. This is the first one was a really tough fight. It was a brilliant fight. It was a throwback cruiserweight classic in many ways. I mean, I mentioned this, I think you and I off air, or maybe I mentioned it yesterday, I can't remember. I don't think this is going to be a hard fight. I mean, of all the fights on the bill, I might be most confident about Jai doing not just winning, but doing a job. I've seen something in Maris Bradis when I've spoken to him. He came out multiple layer today. I've just got a feeling this is a big night for Jai Opataya.
It could well be. Let's head back to Thomas Triber introducing our next world title fight.
Championships of the world. Let's first welcome, coming to us from Belfast, Northern Ireland. He brings a record of 21 wins, 1 defeat, 7 wins. Coming by way of knockout, let's welcome the reigning and defending IBO Super Featherweight Champion of the World, Anthony, the Andy Town Apache Kakachi.
Well, there is a smile across the face of the Apache whenever he hears his name being introduced, nickname and all, from Thomas Treiber. It's a big, big night that has been years and years in the making for Anthony Kakachi. He has had highs, he has had lows, but on Saturday night he has the opportunity to become the IBF World Super Featherweight Champion, Andy.
Absolutely, and he knows what a massive opportunity this is, and it won't necessarily come again because he's had such enormous problems with inactivity. And we were talking earlier about the need to just persevere and just keep going and going and going. He's had so many fights fall through, so many frustrations, and now he's finally here. I asked him if there was any pressure on him, and he said no, that basically all the pressure is on Cordina, but I don't believe him because this is possibly it for him. You know, it's a cruel business, this. Sometimes you get 3 or 4 chances, sometimes you get 1. I might get the feeling with him this is probably it.
Sometimes people, that was perfect. I said sometimes, same time as she was saying sometimes. No one noticed that. I'm not even getting a well done for that, by the way. Sometimes fighters don't like that word pressure because it may be, they think it suggests a weakness, and it doesn't suggest a weakness. You know, sometimes you can be under pressure, you can put yourself under pressure, and it's a plus, it's a positive, and you can use it as a plus and a positive. Both him and Cordina are under pressure in this fight, and there's no reflection on anything that they do in the ring. They're under pressure because they know the winner might have a spectacular year, 18 months. The loser, maybe not so. Maybe a rematch, you claw your way back. The winner of this fight, if it's a good win, he is moving in some quality golden territory. So that's pressure, and that's nothing to do with their nerves, their guts, their bottle, or their skill.
I'll tell you what, though, all the ups and downs that he's had, all the setbacks, all the knockbacks, a lesser man probably would have jacked it in by now. He's kept himself in shape, he's kept himself ready, he got the call, and he's here and he's ready to go.
I think that's what could make him dangerous, you know. We spoke again, I'm going to say it, got that golden ticket, not just being on the show. There's more titles at stake with this one. This is huge. This is like double whammy, if you want to say so. I mean, he's up against the top operator, Joe Cordina, a great friend of mine. But like I say, you know, we're at that stage where let's hope Joe's not overlooked him. This is his big chance, and even more so than Joe. Joe's fighting to go on to huge fights. He wants to fight the superstars. Anthony's fighting to get into the mix.
And get into the mix, and get into the mix with a good scalp, i.e. Joe Cordina. That's an unbelievable trophy. He said something, Cordina, when I spoke to him on Monday of this week. He said, Steve, I keep reading about how hungry Kakachi is. He said, well, I'm still hungry. You can be a world champion and still be hungry, you know, because hunger's not measured by instantly your bank account. It's measured by other factors. He's still hungry. 2 hungry fighters.
No, I think Joe's still got a lot to prove to people, you know. He wants to be that. He wants them superstar fights because right there, the division's massive and it's full of big names.
Yes.
No, I think if Joe does well here, he'll either be back here. Otherwise, we're going to see him in America. Yeah. You know, the Americans, they've got some big names at the weight, and don't get me wrong, they'll be really tough fights. But that's where you want to test yourself.
And who knows? Maybe those Americans we'll see here. So instead of him going to America, those big fights, those Americans, all of whom are queuing up and they're all inquiring about being here, maybe that will be here as well.
And also, if you're in the Joe Cordina business, remember, I'm not sure how many fights he's got left at this weight.
Absolutely.
So beyond this fight, it could be lightweight. Now that's becoming a bit of a glamour division in world boxing right now, Steve.
You know, between the super feathers and the lightweights, you know, I joked earlier on about to Fraser Moses that we've got 30 fights. Well, you've got about 10 monster fights in those 2 divisions. So anybody, the winner of this, let's say Joe Cordina, he gets himself on the edge of that. What if you're in the middle of that roller coaster with 6 or 7 fighters on over a 2 or 3 year period? That's outrageous. Be brilliant then.
Well, let's hear from the brilliant Thomas Treiber.
Of knockout, let's welcome the reigning and defending IBF Super Featherweight Champion of the World, the Welsh Wizard, Joe Cordina.
Well, here comes the Welsh wizard, Joe Cordina. Tyson Fury isn't the only world champion from Britain defending his belt on Saturday night in Riyadh. 17-0. Joe Cordina will make the third defence of his IBF crown against Anthony Kakachi. Won that belt in 2002, 2022. 2002 was a long old time ago, Andy.
A long reigning champion, if that was the case.
Very, very long. It's history for Joe Cordina, who makes his 400th defence on Saturday night. But it was a stunning one-punch knockout when he won that belt as well. Quite a shocking knockout, and this is defence number 3.
I think there's real possibilities with Cordina because the skill was never in question. I remember him winning that European gold medal as an amateur, but he just had a tendency to drift in fights a bit. I remember he was in Doha for the 2015 World Champs, and he was around up against Robson Conceição, who was a top fighter at 60 kilos, and then he just kind of drifted and lost the fight, and I couldn't work out quite how it had happened, so I just wondered whether it would really happen for him as a pro. The knockout against Gao was extraordinary. And then, of course, he had this situation where he ended up getting stripped because he couldn't defend the title. And Rakhimov had been promised an opportunity to fight for the title. And then he went in with Rakhimov, and this was the one for me because this was a really, really hard fight. And he showed us that he's got the minerals and he's got the grit, because you don't know whether someone's got that until they show you they've got it and they've walked through the fire. So you look at the skill and you look at that, and I just think if his head stays in the game, as long as he's still got the burning desire to do this, I'm really interested to see what he could do.
Rakhimov certainly didn't think Joe had what he had in the ring that night. So the two fights that really matter, there's been no drift. The two fights that really matter, we've seen an amazingly focused Cordina, and I think that we'll see that tonight because this is a big prize. You know, defending your title here on a major stage, that's one prize. But I think we both know, and Fraser and I have been banging on about it since we came on air, there's another prize here, and that's the prize, that golden lottery ticket. It's that ticket. Over here you get your money for the fight and you get your plaudits. Over here you get the pass that says you're going to the next stage, son. You're not in the holding bay, you're not in the holding camp, you're on the plane to the big one. It's as simple as that, and that's really what he's fighting for.
Yeah, I'm just going to touch on what Andy said there about, I think there was a few questions around Joe early on. I think it might have been because of the skill and the way he dealt with people. But that Rakhimov performance, and knowing him how I know him, and the stock he comes from, the minerals are definitely there. And I think he's going to need all of that if he's going to go to the next level. Don't get me wrong, he's a world champion, but to go on, especially to fight the champions, the other champions, he's going to need to show all of that skill, all of that toughness. And I think you might even need that on Saturday night. You know, with such a challenger, someone who's so hungry, you're gonna. I can't see being plain sailing. There might be times where he has to show everything he's got.
And Kakachi has said, listen, you know, he's probably a better boxer than me, he's probably a better mover than me, he's got a better skill set than me, but I bang harder. So he's telling us he needs to make it a fight.
I think what I really like about him is that when you've got those two elements, you've got the skill, but you've also got the minerals, for there is no better word actually. You've also got to have the intelligence to use them both, because sometimes when somebody discovers that they've got that ability to really dog it out, they can get a bit carried away with that and go to it because they just think, I know I can go deep and do that, let's see if you can. But Cordina, I think, is the kind of person who will use that sparingly. He will use it when he absolutely has to use it, and that's the way to do it, because those kinds of fights, we love to watch them, but you need to avoid them if you can, because you've only got so many in you. And I feel like he will go to that well when he has to, but not otherwise, and longevity-wise, that matters.
Keen to get your thoughts on that, Fraser, because we've seen you go to the well quite recently as well. You probably don't want to do it immediately again, kind of thing, but it's a tough place to go, right?
I don't ever think it's anyone's intention, you know. I don't think you mean to go there. I think there comes a point where you can't be seen as the one going the other way, so you stay there, and there becomes a time in people's life, not just in boxing, in life, where you have to fight fire with fire. And in a fight, it's more the mental side of things, you know. I'm not taking a backward step, you're not. I don't want to give nothing, you don't want to give nothing. And whoever can control it the best usually comes out on top.
Well, also not taking a backward step is Ali Drew, who's joined by Tommy Fury.
It can be on, it's all the marbles on the line, it's the biggest fight in 50 years. I mean, if you can't get up for this, I don't know what you can get up for. So what an event, and proud to be in Saudi Arabia.
Does this week feel different compared to previous big Tyson Fury fight weeks. They're all huge, but does this feel that little bit more special?
Yes, because of where it's at. We're in the great kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and there's only these people, the Saudis, can put a fight like this on. For my mind, it's the 9th wonder of the world going to happen here Saturday night. It's going to be remembered in 100 years to come and more. And we can only thank the great kingdom of Saudi and Turkey Al Sheikh for all the powers to be helped to put all this on. We're only privileged to be here, and all we want to do is serve up a great fight and be victorious, and I'm sure we will be.
It's been quite an eventful week so far, especially for you, John. Is there more to come? We can't really expect anything less from the Fury family.
The thing is, we're in the fight game. People must understand that. And in Britain, I think we've lost our way a bit. I'm a guy from the 80s. That's every day of the week that happens, and it's no big deal. It's a sport. We're all rough and tumble, big guys, full of testosterone, and things happen. Emotions run high. But listen, hear this. No harm to any Ukrainian. I've got the height respect from them. Good luck with all the troubles. But listen, we're all fighters, and that's what you can get from fighters.
Yeah, and it's very passionate this week from both sides.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you for that.
Tyson's looking in great shape. Is that the game plan? Is that the sort of main game plan going into this?
Yeah, we've been there, we've seen him spar, we've seen him train, and especially leading up to the fight on this week. It's the best we've ever seen him. He's razor sharp, he's mentally focused. Everybody's seen from the pictures that's been out there. He's trained really hard for this, and he's in the best shape that he's been in. And if he just does what he's been doing in the gym, I believe he walks through Usyk, and that's it. Because on his day, Tyson can't be beaten. If he shows up mentally prepared, which he is, I don't see anybody in the world beating him ever, past or present.
Well, it's all happening on Saturday night. But before we go, Tommy, what is next for you? When are we next seeing you fighting?
Just recovering from the surgery that I had in January, so hopefully by the end of the year we can get into another big fight, and that's the plan for me. I just want to be active. I don't really want to fight once, twice a year anymore. I want to get in there and actually hone my skills and get the best out of myself. But I'm sure there's another big fight looming, which everybody will hear soon, and hopefully we can get some good news out there.
You going to tease us with any names?
Not just yet, you'll have to stay tuned.
Brilliant, thanks for your time.
We all know the names we're looking at, don't we? Well, listen, thank you for having us on stage. Thank the great kingdom of Saudi, all the people that's attended and what's going to buy the pay-per-view. I'm sure you will not be disappointed. Great things going to happen Saturday night. Thanks everybody for attending. God bless you all.
Thanks for joining us.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's always good to hear from Big John Fury, especially when he's with Tommy as well. They've just got that energy, and it's a big week for the Fury family. It most certainly is. John talked about how important it is for the Fury family name to suddenly have Undisputed World Champion tag next to it. It's a big thing, Andy.
It's huge, and I was going through the lineage of Undisputed earlier today for a piece I was doing, and we know that we haven't had one for 25 years, but you look at the people who have managed to unify the belts. It was 2, and then it was 3, and now it's 4 since it became 2 back in the early 60s, and you're looking at Cassius Clay as he was then. You're looking at Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Muhammad Ali as he became, Leon Spinks, Mike Tyson, James Buster Douglas, Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis.
Go on, Andy. Go on,
Andy. That's it until now. And for the last 6 years, all 4 belts have been in the possession of 2 people. Their identities have changed, but that's been the situation. And we were beginning to despair, weren't we, to be honest, that this would happen. So it's a massive, massive thing if you manage to pull this off. And, it will go down in, family folklore and boxing folklore forever.
No, look, it absolutely will. And it's also the fact that because there's 4 belts, surely it's harder to acquire all of that hardware. We know how suddenly there's a mandatory slapped on you, there's a contender that comes in. To acquire 4 pieces of silverware is a big thing. Let's give you a Mike Fraser block. We're talking about the Undisputed, right? Hard these days. 4 different belts you've got to collect and make it happen. So it's even more of an achievement, really, it feels like.
Oh, it's massive, when you talk as a fighter, getting your hand on 1 is unbelievable. But to be the man, the number 1, no one else, it's the stuff of dreams, it really is.
Special fight on a special night, and I think very shortly Thomas Triber is actually going to bring in Oleksandr Usyk. Before he does so, just a quick word. What are you expecting from the Ukrainian wizard very shortly in that ring, Andy?
I don't think we'll see much. I don't think either of these two will be interested in doing too much. They're certainly not going to want to give anything away, but maybe just a little bit of light work, shadow boxing, that kind of thing. Usyk might just give us a few nice pivots, all that kind of stuff. But with characters like them, particularly with Fury as well, though, it will just depend on what kind of mood takes him in the moment. He might decide to put on a little bit more of a show, but given the heat, I don't really expect either one of them, or they'll probably be under quite strict instructions, would you say, not to stay in there too long.
Yeah, whatever they're going to do, it's not going to be come out here and think about it and do it. The stakes are high. This would have been thought about. Listen, Tyson, this is what we're going to go out there and do. Alexander, this is what we're going out there and do. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, you'll do what you're obligated to do. If you're telling me you're going to feel good from it in a pad, we'll do a pad. If you're going to go out there and dance and sing whatever you want to do, you do that. But we're not doing nothing that's going to take away from you Saturday night.
You know, the last time Tyson Fury took on a heavyweight champion from Ukraine, it was Vladimir Klitschko. In the fight week, he shocked the world. Most people just, you know, throw pads, do this, do that. He sung to Vladimir Klitschko just days before beating him. That must have got in his head, right? What do you think, Andy?
That whole thing was just fascinating, because I remember covering some boxing in Germany probably about a month beforehand, and people were asking me about Tyson Fury, and I said, don't write him off, you know. I'm not saying I picked him to win, but I said he's very, very difficult, he's very tricky, he's massive, he's a hard night's work, and they just laughed at me. They just felt that he was another one on the conveyor belt of victims for Klitschko, because that was what was happening in Germany at the time. Yeah. He'd fill out a stadium and iron someone out. That's basically
he had a good routine going, didn't he, really?
He absolutely did, and it was rinse and repeat. But just all the things that happened on the day there as well, it just showed kind of how mentally strong him and the team were. All the shenanigans with the layer of foam under the ring canvas, and Peter saying, listen, you need to take that out or I'm leaving, we're walking. Klitschko didn't believe that they would do that, the team didn't believe that they would do that, but they absolutely were going to do it. So they know all about the kinds of things that can happen during a fight week. There's not going to be any of that this week. We're not going to see any of that. But those kinds of experience, I think, do stand you in good stead.
They do. Fraser, has anyone ever sung at you at a public workout? Are you hoping maybe one day?
It's not happened as of yet. I can honestly say, and it would take you by surprise. Yeah. But I think, you know, maybe the team who have learned something from that. You know, with it being Klitschko and other Ukrainian. Maybe they learned that over the years, you know, and that's probably why they've not quite bit. You know, the usual people. Tyson gets a bite out of people. I've not seen it as of yet.
Well, the thing that we're hearing is that Vladimir Klitschko has given Oleksandr Usyk some advice. I think that was out there a few weeks ago. It started emerging that advice was for him to target the cut. What do you think? Is that something easy? Is that just like a throwaway thing? Just try and target the cut? Is that easy to do, Fraser?
I think it's a bit of a throwaway thing, you know. You try to win the fight. If you open the cut and you see it, and you know someone's struggling with it, of course you go for it. You know, like when a shark smells good, you know, you got to go at it. Very much the same, but I don't think it'll be in a tactical breakdown. Go out there and try and open the cut. I don't think that's how it's going to go.
What's interesting, though, is that nobody's really talking about the fact that Usyk's a southpaw, because Fury, it's accepted basically that he's a very skillful fighter, he's an elite-level fighter, and therefore able to adapt to whatever his opponent does. That's the credit you give somebody who's that good. But last time he boxed a southpaw, he had problems against Otto Wallin. We were talking about it earlier, and he got hit a lot in that fight. He got backed up to the ropes quite a lot. And then obviously there was the cut. Now, you're not going to open up a cut like that every time you hit someone, but just watching the way it was delivered was interesting. Fury was leaning back into the ropes. He hit him to the body, so he dropped his elbow a little bit and just went on top, not quite over the top, but a straight left hand. And that's what opened up the cut. You know, so that is just a fact. The last time he boxed a southpaw, it almost went disastrously wrong, and no one's really making anything of it. I mean, I don't know whether you feel like there's anything in that, but it's kind of it's a thread to pull on.
Yeah, it's a valid point, very valid point. I believe. I don't see there should be no reason why boxing, anything can happen in the ring. There should be no reason why Tyson's sitting on ropes against Oleksandr Usyk. If I was his trainer and Tyson was sitting on ropes, when he come back to the corner, he'd be getting a mouthful. Do you know what I mean? He'd be getting the right mouthful, because tactically I don't think it makes sense. I think that gives him every opportunity. And look what he did against Otto Wallin, you know, it caused you problems. So Tyson's clever, the team are clever. They would have looked at his past performances, surely, against Southpaw. We did this good, we did this not so good, let's change it.
Well, tactically, what does make sense against Oleksandr Usyk? If you're Tyson Fury on Saturday night, how do you play it?
I mean, I keep hearing this thing about using your size and and leaning on him and dragging him, but that doesn't win you a fight necessarily. It might slow him down a little bit. I think Tyson is good enough. I think he's fast enough to keep Alexander at range. And I think anytime you get past these super long arms, anytime you come into my space, I'm going to hit you hard. And I'm not going to target the body, but if the body shot's on, I'm going to stick one in there because I've seen you have previous problems there. I'm going to make it so hard for you to hit me that you think you're shadowboxing. You are not coming in this distance. You're not going to hit me, Alexander. You're not going to get to use these skills that everyone goes on about. I'm going to make it so hard work for you. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to take the rounds from you. And then eventually what I'm going to do, I'm going to step it up and I'm going to beat you up.
Well, delighted to be joined by promoter Eddie Hearn.
How are you, mate?
How are you, Eddie? Great to have you here. I mean, listen, Undisputed, first time in 25 years. Doesn't really get bigger, does it?
No, and you can see the interest from everyone talking to people. A lot of people flown from all around the world to see this fight, which is great news for Riyadh and Saudi Arabia. And a real pick and fight. I keep going over it in my mind. One day it's Usyk, one day it's Fury, one day it's stoppage, one day he's going to box off the back foot. The reality is no one really knows until you get in there, and you've got to be able to adapt in there. And that is something that Oleksandr Usyk does very well. Both men do. It's both tremendous minds in that ring.
Ed, you've been on the road quite a lot over the last couple of months. Outside of Bob Arum, outside of Alex Krasik, outside of Frank Warren, have you met anybody whose judgment you really, really respect, who's convinced one or the other will win? Who's absolutely convinced?
It's difficult because everyone, not got an agenda, but everyone's got their loyalty. They'll be around a fighter. I've been around a few people today, Ty Mitchell, Greg Marriott, are all saying, we've never seen Fury like this before. I'm telling you, he's in the shape of his life, the mindset's 100%. And if that's true, I think he wins the fight. I do. But, there's a lot coming off the back of the Ngannou performance. There is a difference in the weight. I think people got to understand he's not standing on the scales every day. He's just been training for a long period of time, eating well. It's a risky time to do that in this fight, but he's still going to be, 19 plus stone. He's still going to have a huge size advantage. I actually think he's going to box very defensively in this fight. I think he's going to box off the back foot like he did against Klitschko, and I think Usyk's going to box on the front foot, applying the pressure.
Like
and that's a danger
AJ in the first round.
I think that's a danger for Fury, because you can't just jab and pot shot and hold, because Usyk's a volume puncher, and he does it very, very well. And I think, if you let him get into the fight and start establishing an early lead, Fury's going to have to switch it up and start walking him down. We saw that. AJ got desperate, he got frustrated, he started making more mistakes, getting caught. And now I'm talking to you, I fancy Usyk. I mean, this is the problem with this fight.
Let's go over to Thomas Triber.
Gold for 12 rounds. It will be for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world. Let's first welcome to the ring from Ukraine, undefeated with 21 wins, 14 of his 21 wins coming by way of knockout. Let's welcome the 2012 Olympic gold medalist, the former undisputed cruiserweight world champion, and this Saturday night, the reigning and defending unified heavyweight champion of the world, Oleksandr Usyk.
Well, here comes Oleksandr Usyk, the unified world heavyweight champion. As announced there by Thomas Triber, he was, of course, undisputed at cruiserweight. It'll be some achievement if he can become the undisputed world heavyweight champion on Saturday night. One man stands in his way, Tyson Fury. And Eddie, this is a man that you know very well. You've seen this kind of walk from Oleksandr Usyk so many times. How does he seem to you this week?
You're not going to get anything different out of Usyk. Exactly the same every time he fights. Calm, emotionless. Be no difference this week. I saw him up close against Bellew, against Chisora, behind closed doors. Twice against AJ. Exactly the same every time. Every press conference, the same. Doodling away in the pad, not really saying anything. By the way, how good's his English now? I mean, that's very strange how well that suddenly improved.
He was translated for the translator.
Mate, I've done plenty of press conferences. I've just realised he's been completely mugging me off. He couldn't even be bothered to speak English. He speaks it fluently. I don't know, this guy's difficult to beat. And it's going to take someone and something special to do it. We know that Fury's got that in him, but he's pulling it off in that moment.
I think what you see from Usyk is experience. You know, everything he does, you see experience in it. We talk about the weight. It's been very similar since he's been heavyweight. Guess what? You find the winning formula and you stick with it. He's had no reason to change as of yet. So everything he does, it does seem very similar. All the fights, ice cold, focused. He's won the fight in his head in the preparation because I know that him and the team prepare so well.
And when you see him coming in the ring, Frey's pointed something out to me. He said he's bandaged up properly. He's actually going to do a little bit of work. He's not going to float around.
Yeah, I like that, by the way. Listen,
of course he is.
I was talking to Sam Jones tonight, and he said to me, "Oh, are we doing a media workout for Catterall Taylor?" I went, "Yeah, that's the whole idea." And by the way, don't go in there and just sometimes I have a little bit of an argument with AJ. Don't last very long. He basically tells me to shut up.
Yeah.
But it's like we want to go in there. We want to see it, right?
See
and I want to see. Just only want to see a round or two.
Like a lad bang on a pack.
This is like, you know, a big race. It's like Ascot when all the racehorses are parading around the ring and you're going, yeah, look at that one. Yeah, look at that one. You know, and that's part of the build-up to this fight. So for me, I think you'll get both guys doing a little session in here tonight. You know, I think thinking about it, going back to what we said, this fight, the first half of this fight is going to be really important. Maybe not even the first half, the first 3 or 4 rounds. Because if Usyk can win those rounds, Fury's going to have to switch it up, and he's going to have to fight aggressively. And that'll be really dangerous for him against this stuff.
I feel like he is going to be aggressive, though.
Who?
Because Fury.
You think so?
I think he will be.
I thought that, but I'm not so sure.
I think he will be.
Change your mind tomorrow, Eddie.
But I just feel like, you know, coming in light, I don't know, I think when Fury's on edge a little bit, it's like in Klitschko 1, and obviously Wilder 1, he was very twitchy, very nervous, and that's really where he's at his best, where he's at his most awkward. But as he's got a little bit older, you've seen him be more aggressive, sometimes a little bit cumbersome coming forward, and I don't know, you can't do that against him. I think he knows he can't just come forward like he did in Wilder 2 and just like walk him down and let his hands go. He's got to be smart with it.
That's probably what Usyk would want, right?
It is, because, you know, AJ, especially in the first fight, got it completely wrong. But everyone was saying to him, all you've got to do, just walk him down, let your hands go, beat him up. And it's probably the worst tactic you could have.
That's bread and butter to these fellas.
Yeah.
They've seen it a million times. Everyone that's got in the ring with it has tried to walk him down. Going in there, and I see Usyk speak a lot this week, and he's been saying something like, I'm going to be around you a lot. Now that for me is an indication that he's going to work at an unbelievable pace, and he's going to throw a lot of shots.
Try and terrorise him.
Yeah, terrorise. That's the exact word. He's going to be like, you're like an annoying bee in summer, just around you, on him, stinging him.
Never backs up on the ropes, just moving and working in this little circle within the ring.
I said
spinning off him.
I said this, he's not going to, I've heard that all the time. Run, rabbit, run. This man didn't run from AJ, so why is he going to run from Tyson Fury?
He's never run in his life. No. I mean, that's just a complete myth. I mean, at cruiserweight, he would block and counter more than he has at heavyweight, because heavyweight's obviously hit harder, but I still think he's got that strong mentality now, Fury. We were talking to Sugar Hill earlier, and he said that they are looking to win by knockout. That doesn't necessarily mean be gung-ho and reckless, but the intention, it's a mentality, isn't it? It's a conviction and a commitment to the punch when you say you're going to win inside the distance. And the reality is there is no blueprint for beating Oleksandr Usyk as a pro, because nobody has ever done it. You've just got to be totally clear in your mind what it is that you're going to do. And for me, I think he is going to be aggressive. He's going to have to be very educated with it.
And when you believe in your work, that's when you believe in your defence, you believe in your attack, you believe in your fitness. You're very dangerous. And there's no reason for this man not to believe, because no one, as of yet, we've seen, has been able to even really come near defeating him. So he should believe, and if he takes that belief into Saturday, Tyson will have a problem.
You know, whilst we've been talking, Usyk's come in, he's winked at his cornermen, and he's shaping up orthodox, Brian, letting all his hands go. And he's winked again. It's like
I think
that's his little joke tonight.
Tyson Fury is the king of the bluff, you know, king of the mind games. And here he's up against a guy that he can't really beat in mind games.
He doesn't play mind games,
No, but that's why I feel like, you know, Fury, he looks a little bit edgy last night. Fury, you know, obviously the stuff happened with John on Monday, but this is the first guy that he can't go up to him and start screaming in his face and making him just get angry or change his emotion for the event. I think that'll wind Fury up a little bit, you know.
Eddie, fantastic insight. No one really knows Usyk better than you. We are going to have to let you go, though, because I think we're going to get Oleksandr Usyk up here very, very shortly. We'll see.
Well, as you're replacing with Usyk, I'll take it.
It's not too bad, is it? Not too bad a replacement. therapist, Eddie Hearn there. Andy Clark is also going to exit. And let's just have a look. Let's just have a look at Oleksandr Usyk here.
Well, for a start, as we said, he's doing everything orthodox, which he might even come out for the first 5 seconds that way, but there's no way he stays orthodox. It's a nice idea. He's managed to, he's switching around now without trying. Listen, he is at least hitting the pads. If he's got bandage on, even if they're just a little bit of fancy bandages, he still put his bandages on. He's still doing it. We're not going to see anything, but I agree with Eddie. Give us something.
Give us something.
You know, and AJ's been a lot of fun with it, because what he does, he gets school kids in, gives 20 minutes with them, and you don't see anything from him. Eddie's absolutely right. Just like in a horse race, when you see all those horses, I want to hear a bit of cracking. Get the music on and have a few cracks. That's what. You know what? That's a really good idea, that, Dev. Listen. Fury tells them, turn the music down, because no one's heard any punches yet. Correct. And suddenly Fury's throwing shots that are reverberating through this arena where we are. They're leaving us in Egypt land, and they're going all the way down there to Roma, all the way over there to Paris. That's what I would do. What a ploy that would be in the silence.
Hey, listen, not quite in the same arena, but I do recall Gennady Golovkin doing that at a workout in London. Said, turn the music on,
hear it.
And you heard it.
Absolutely. You heard the crack. And Fury with his big right hand, and especially the way Sugar Hill Stewart does the pads, where he pulls them away, he'll help that crack. We'd get these big cracks. We'd love that.
I don't think they're going to do much.
No, neither do I. I was hoping.
We built it up like that. And
Quite low. Did sell it, though, didn't we?
We did.
We did.
Usyk's done more than I thought.
Yeah, me too.
And I will say, it might be the music, it might not be, but very relaxed. A little bit of a dance, a little bit of a shadow box. And I'm not sure because I'm this far away from him, or it might be the ring, but he looks big. Yeah. He looks wide. You know what I don't know if that's just me.
His face is quite slim, but his body,
his shoulders look wide.
Without a doubt. That's interesting because, as we mentioned yesterday, Steve, heavyweight, he's found his weight. It's 2-2-1 every time. Are we suggesting maybe he's bigger, maybe he's smaller? What do we think?
Optimum weight is important as heavyweight.
Three fights on the spin, he's come the same way.
You go on, for years and years, especially as a heavyweight, where you haven't necessarily got to make a weight.
Yeah.
You go for years trying to find what do you perform best at. Now, for him doing that, the same weight 3 fights on the spin, for me, suggests that him and the team looked and said, you know what, we found our sweet spot here, we're going to stay here, we're going to get strong here, we might go up a little bit, we might go down, but if we're at this base mark, we're in a good place.
I think he's more than 2-2-1 there. He's not a lot more. He's not 250 or anything stupid. Because let's get it right. There's nothing he can gain, Dev and Fraze, that's going to in any way change the physical in any way push Fury back, change the physical advantages that Fury has. No matter what he gains. Even if he gained 5 stone in belly, Robert De Niro style. Okay, even if he gained 5 stone in belly, he's still going to be able to push Fury back. So, but it looks to me a little bit bulkier.
Tall.
And tall. Hey, listen, we've been selling him short all along about small. Frank Warren put us right on that on Monday. And so we keep talking about this guy. He's bigger than most of the heavyweight champs in history.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm quite sick and tired of people calling that massive man small.
Yeah.
What else does that do
No
for
comment from me on that one, Dev. No comment from me on that one, son.
Goodness me. Let's head over to Ali Drew.
Right, you ready now? Just having a drink. It's very hot in here. Just having a sip of water. I asked you this yesterday, but I'm going to ask you again. How do you feel?
I feel good. Again, please.
Now, you've been in this position before. You've been in the fight week for an undisputed fight. Does it feel familiar, or is this new feelings this week? Does it feel a little bit different?
Кожного разу нові емоції, і це будуть нові емоції, тому що це дуже великий поєдинок для мене, для моєї країни, для багатьох людей, які тут зібралися. Все нове, кожен день новий і кожне діло нове.
Each event that they take place will always have a new experience. Each new day, each new experience will, for the country, for the team, is always a wonderful, great new experience.
Now, before you get out the ring, just a final word to Tyson Fury, who is waiting at the end of the purple carpet.
I don't have last questions. I say for Saturday. Yeah.
Are you going to stay and watch him when he gets in the ring?
Of course.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, there was Oleksandr Usyk. No real final message for Tyson Fury, but to be honest, I wasn't expecting one. Let's head back over to Thomas Schreiber.
Undefeated with 34 wins, 1 draw, 24 of his 34 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the lineal world champion and the reigning and defending WBC heavyweight champion of the world, known as the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury.
Well, here comes Tyson Fury. Dancing, moving, but there is a real sternness about this war. He looked the part yesterday. He had that Undertaker hat on. He's gone for the baseball cap today, back to front, taking in every moment. WBC belt held aloft behind him. Big night for Tyson Fury on Saturday. One man stands between him and becoming the first undisputed world heavyweight champion of the century. That one man is Oleksandr Usyk. We've just seen his workout. Let's see what Tyson Fury has got for us as he takes in every moment here in Boulevard City in Riyadh. It is quite the setting, Steve Bunce.
It certainly is quite a setting. It's a setting that Tyson's been here before, literally here before. He's been like this before. He's walked through crowds before. But one of the things I've been desperate to do all week is just get him to admit that this is different. We got it close. Let's try it later on when we get it. Meanwhile,
well, we're talking about the movement and the dancing from Tyson Fury. What about this? Oleksandr Usyk. How are you, sir? Oleksandr Usyk, I can see you. Your eyes are locked on Tyson Fury.
But it's not real training. It's like so.
You're joking, that's not real training?
It's not real training.
You're joking.
My training is real.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, orthodox.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oleksandr, what we're going to do is we're going to have Tyson up on the screen there, and you can watch him. You can watch his workout, just like you've been watching him all week, and you can tell us what you think. That is the man standing in between yourself and Undisputed. What do you see when you look at Tyson Fury?
Людина стоїть між тобою і Undisputed. Що ти бачиш, коли дивишся на нього?
It's my opponent.
I had a feeling that would happen.
Beat my opponent.
But best opponent.
Look. I know two guys who very famous who play in guitar. Left guy.
Yeah.
You know who is?
No, who?
It's Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix?
And Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, Kurt Cobain.
Who played like
Great
this,
guitar.
not like this.
Yeah, played properly.
Yes. It's two top guys.
So, let's make this a music conversation. Are you a Kurt Cobain fan? Or are you a Jimi Hendrix fan?
Little bit. Listen. I fan... No. Старый дед американец, который в итальянской опере пел. Джонни. Doesn't matter.
It'll come to you later.
Bad boy, what you gonna do? Who player? Bad boy, what you gonna do? Who is?
What you gonna do when you...
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, come on. I'm sorry, I can't think. I'm sorry.
Well, Oleksandr Usyk has been left baffled.
Music conversation.
Yeah, no, rubbish. Let's get back to the boxing.
Alexander, I've got to ask you, at what point in the week does it become exciting because as a fighter myself, there gets to a stage where you want to get rid of all this now, all this stuff, all these shenanigans. When does it become exciting and you want to get in the ring and fight?
Listen, what's going on now? It just show. But you know, when you start and dress and like start in the ring, you know, there's a corridor. Yeah. This is start because you know, like that, dressed, a lot of people, camera, blah blah blah. Also on. When I stop in the ring, switch on my focus. Stay with me, my opponent, and referee. Yes, like this. It's like shooting.
Oleksandr.
I don't like what's going on because it's part work. Yeah, that's a show. Professional, it's show. It's not amateur boxing, but it's part show. But if you not have good boxing with ring, it's show, it doesn't matter. A lot of people show, go to ring. No good. If you do show, you must do boxing. Yes. Good. You must do one and then do the second. Yes, absolutely.
I say this often. Style, substance over style. It's all about, this doesn't matter. What matters is Saturday night.
Can hit like a thunderstorm. You can't deny it.
Skinny belly.
Skinny Billy.
What do you make? You're saying skinny. I mean, are you joking? He says he's going to come in at around 19 stone. What do you think? You really think he's a bit skinny?
Tyson? He's too skinny. Usyk said that he can be a hero for the underwear commercials.
Well, fascinating stuff here. We've got Oleksandr Usyk watching Tyson Fury.
This is show for me.
This is show. He's now southpaw.
Yeah.
You, of course.
I know.
That's fine.
Listen, a smart guy.
Yeah. So are you. You're a smart guy as well.
Yeah.
Oleksandr Usyk, thank you. Thank you, Oleksandr. Thank you, Alex Krasik, as well. Fantastic stuff.
Alex, see you later.
A wink and a nudge from Oleksandr Usyk, Alex Krasik, and he is watching Tyson Fury.
Of course he can. Dev, when you get asked by Alex Krasik, his manager, if Oleksandr can watch it from your platform, you just say yes, okay? It's that simple.
Goodness me, what else am I going to say?
Absolutely.
What a shot that is. Oleksandr Usyk watching Tyson Fury in a ring of fire, and he will be in that ring with him on Saturday night. And one of them will be the first undisputed world heavyweight champion of the century. And Oleksandr Usyk doesn't give much away. He doesn't tell us what he's thinking. But I do wonder what goes through his head. He's got one man stood in between him and history. And that one man is in the ring, Tyson Fury. that is Tyson Fury taking a goal, showing a little move around in the ring, Steve.
Yeah, a bit more than a little move around. I know it's about his third or fourth song. He's handpicked songs we've heard him do stuff to before. So he is using it for a bit of a session. I agree with Eddie. I'd like to see a little bit more. Yeah. Even if they're not cracking and smashing the pad, give us something. You can't deny. He's given us a bit of a show here tonight.
No, he absolutely is. And that's what he does. He is giving us a show.
He is, yeah.
He's enjoying the music. Oleksandr Usyk is also enjoying the music, and so is Fraser Clark.
Well, it's an event, like Alexander said. This is a show. And Tyson is making a show of it, isn't he? He's enjoying it, he's dancing. You know what he looks to me? And it's going to sound, boxing people know this to him, he looks loose.
Yeah, looks relaxed.
He looks loose. And you know what that means? That means your hands go fast, your reactions are fast, your mind's fast, your eyes are fast. He looks like, to me...
And that's what you want to see when you're facing a man like the man who's just over your shoulder watching.
There's nothing better than boxing with nerves, Steve. I'm telling you now, you're sharper than you could ever be.
Yeah.
You're worried about what's coming back, you're worried about making mistakes, and that worry drives you to be faster, sharper,
more alert.
That's the best.
Yeah, I see a little bit of that in there tonight. Now he's going to do more session. Yeah, I don't want to get technical here, but I was clearly told in my contract that it was 3 minutes per boxer. Now, what's going on, brother?
I think
this is like 15-minute round.
Yeah, we might just need to adjust that contract, Steve. I don't think Tyson Fury's going anywhere.
You see, it's so interesting for someone like myself, someone that's my stage of career. Sometimes I have a little look on the open works and I don't take too much into it. Now, I'm seeing a man at the top of the game, Oleksandr Usyk, doing that. Laser focused.
Yeah.
I'd love to pick what's going through his mind.
And you haven't done that.
I've had a little look now.
No, but not that look. That is leave me alone, I'm looking.
Yeah, I've done it while there's a camera on me and I'm having a chat about it. With Dave Allen, I was having a chat and that. He's not blinked.
No one's talked to him either. He's sat over there in the corner, over there, Dev. No one's talked to him. They know not to talk to him. He's just doing his stuff.
Very much being left alone.
Very much so.
And that's it, he's seen enough.
And it looks like Oleksandr Usyk has seen enough.
David, would you just explain to people that can't see what working conditions we're under at the moment, please? Would you do it, please? Do it some justice.
We're making it work. We're making it work.
Our studio is absolutely cramped right now. There are cameras, there are crew members, all of those people that were chanting Usyk, Usyk, Usyk earlier this week in that media hotel lobby. They're up here. I'm not sure how much longer this stage can really take.
And out come the Ugg slippers.
He's got the Ugg slippers on now.
The footwear of champions.
I think he's got a pair of boots of Undisputed on the back of them.
He has indeed. Tyson Fury had the hat yesterday with Undisputed, and Oleksandr Usyk has got the boots. I wonder if they will be the boots he wears on Saturday, because we know Tyson Fury will not be wearing that hat in the ring. And it is absolute chaos up on this in our studio. Oleksandr Usyk surrounded by cameras. And Tyson Fury using his size there on Sugar Hill. And Oleksandr Usyk now has seen enough. Says goodbye to us in studio. Suddenly the stage has got a little bit lighter.
Quite ugly.
That is Tyson Fury. Bit of southpaw moving around there. When he moved in southpaw earlier, Oleksandr Usyk said that was a show, that was for me. He's being clever in there. Bit of southpaw moving around from Tyson Fury.
Which we've seen from, Fury has got history, successful history of being southpaw. Usyk switches every now and again, but it's never a tactic. Whereas with Fury, it is often a tactic. It wouldn't be a tactic I'd employ against another southpaw, but hey-ho, perhaps, who knows, maybe he'll do it. It also gives him a bit of a breather sometimes when he does it. Different muscles, and he often creates a bit of space when he does it. He's not stupid. It's like you know, the guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, when they did some of their fancier stuff, people forget that when they did it, they stepped back 4 feet, wound their arm up 5 times, suddenly we're in 9 seconds of reprieve. Then you do a shuffle and go to the right, you just gain 19 seconds.
Absolutely.
That's a breather.
Yeah, and it all counts. But to have, Fraser, just to get your thoughts on this, to have the skill to, he's done a whole fight before in Southpaw. He can do it for periods at a time. That Derek Chisora rematch, remember that one, Steve, back in 2014?
Horrible.
The whole fight, he did that in Southpaw. It's quite a skill to have, Fraser.
It really is, Dev. It really is. I couldn't do it myself, and I don't know many more heavyweights that could. But guess what? With all due respect to Chisora and anyone else who's boxed Southpaw, this is a different kettle of fish. Yeah, you're in a different league here. If you're not convinced that you can box as effectively Southpaw as you can Orthodox, me personally would leave it alone. I'm not telling Tyson Fury what to do because he's a great, but I'm telling you, this is not the one. If you think that you're not as good or you're not as effective in a Southpaw as Orthodox, I would have been doing it. The stakes are really high here.
You know what's really interesting here? I know that we're making it up. You know, we had all of Usyk's people here, and it was ridiculous. And John Horner, the famous fight lawyer, came up for a second and looked after Lennox Lewis all those years ago, and great fighters since. And it was mayhem and it was chaos. What we haven't, and we've made a joke about it, Tyson's been in the ring a good 20 minutes, hasn't he, Steph?
Yeah, and it's
all jokes aside, that's a long time.
He's clearly getting a sweat on, is Tyson. Look, we talked about not being shortchanged at a public workout like this. No one in here will feel shortchanged from what they're seeing right now.
And you say he's got a proper sweat on, and okay, we know he's not letting him go to punches full go, but he's trying 1 or 2 things. You've seen him trying 1 or 2 things. What he's done in there tonight, not all of that is subterfuge, not all of that is false.
But again, Steve, at this stage, I don't think it's about adding anything. You know what I think it's about? Enjoying yourself.
Yes.
It looks like he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, he is.
And if that works for him, some fighters, that puts him in the right mental space.
For tomorrow. You know, we don't know that if he wasn't here tonight, but we know he went back to the hotel last night after he did a short cameo with us. He might have trained, he might have shadow boxed for 30 or 40 minutes then. You know, sometimes that's what fighters do. He does like to be in the gym. We know that. He does like to be in a ring.
He needs it. He needs the gym. And maybe he needed this workout today. Let's head over and hear from Tyson Fury, who's now with Ali Drew.
It looks like you're enjoying the occasion. How are you feeling?
I'm on top of the world, baby! Who wouldn't be enjoying it? I'm in the great kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Main event, undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. 2020 year, what a year, come on.
Now, the Fury Fight Week is always memorable. Have you got any surprises lined up for us over the next few days?
Keep tuned, keep your eyes peeled. We've got some big stuff coming over the next few days.
What about the ring walk? Can you let us into any secrets of that?
I always have a crazy little ring walk, and you wouldn't expect anything different for the biggest fight in my life, would you?
Something we've never seen before for this one.
I think so, yeah. I don't think it's ever been done before, so it's definitely going to be a surprise.
What is it like having all these people out to support you for this tonight? You've got your whole team with you as well. What an entrance you made.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. You know, all these great people have come out here tonight from wherever they were from to support the boxing event here in Saudi Arabia. So we're looking forward to putting on a good show. Me and Oleksandr are going to put on a fantastic show for the world to watch. Tune in. Saturday night.
Well, before Saturday, we've got the press conference tomorrow. Are you going to be on the wind-up?
So I'm always on the wind-up, and I think I was born winding people up.
Well, when Usyk was in the ring before, he said he was going to stick around and watch your workout. Yeah. Any final words for him? He is watching somewhere.
Usyk! Usyk! Usyk!
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Tyson.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was Tyson Fury. I'm not sure he's sticking around and doing any interviews, but I think he's given us plenty tonight. He's enjoyed every moment. We've enjoyed every moment. He looked good in there.
Yeah, he said, Fraser nailed it. I was trying to find a word. Fraser nailed it. He looked loose. And if you can describe a heavyweight as looking loose, that is quality and that's dangerous. And Fraser's right. Usyk was watching. He was really taking it in.
He was focused. He was zoned in. Was Oleksandr Usyk? You could probably wave your hand in front of his face. He wasn't going to take his eyes off it.
100%.
You got to remember, second by second now, look at all the people here. Eventually, there'll just be 2. And every second we get, we're getting closer and closer to it. Now, you're going to see the intensity of these 2 go through the roof. Over the next few days, 72 hours, you're going to see people start zoning in. Tyson, for all his jokes, he's going to have to be serious. And he will be, because he's a professional. And he's good at what he does. He's the best at what he does. Well, so is Usyk. You're going to see an undisputed fight by 2 undisputed fighters that are right on top of their game. And all this, like Alexander said, this is a show. It means nothing. It's good for us, the fans. But for them 2, they're all only concerned about Saturday night.
He's going, yeah. You know, he was a little bit short with Ali. He gave his 25 minutes. He'd answered 2 questions. He didn't want to do 6 questions. And he's perfectly entitled to that. Because you remember when we started this show about 3 hours ago? That's not a joke, that's a fact. Yeah. I told you that fighters like Lennox Lewis, they ask me questions about these weeks and they just shake their head. They can't believe fighters do what these guys do. So if we don't get him, Dev, I'm not taking it personally, and you shouldn't take it personally.
I absolutely will not. Fraser Clark, it's been fantastic having you with us. Join us again in Fight Week. Thank you so much. Steve Bunce, brilliant as ever. Great having you with us.
Pleasure, Dev. Pleasure, man.
And great having you with us. It's genius versus genius. It's Maverick versus Maverick. Undefeated, undisputed Saturday night. Just had the workout. Join us again for the press conference here tomorrow.
A tale as old as time. A legendary champion in search of another champion has found his match. A duel that transcends bullets and dust. Both men undefeated. Both men larger than life itself. Facing each other under the watchful eye of history. Beyond blood, sweat, and fire, and the mercy of the rough seas. Moved by the ravaging rivals. Oh, weak rivals. And their fists will speak a language older than words. They will speak loudly. And there is just one way to be remembered for all of eternity.